spammed in Twitch chat. Show your support, Bolo subs. Show your support, Spoit subs, and everybody else as well. We got some fantastic NA matchups, and this is just going to get us started here at the Six Invitational. We're starting on Skyscraper, and I actually caught Bodega, coach of M80, in the hallway just before this match. He was giddy that DarkZero didn't ban this map, and he should be, because DarkZero have a horrendous record on Skyscraper. Only a single play since Kobe has joined the roster, and that was a 7-2 loss to Sonics back in September. Before picking up Kobe, it was not a strong map for them either. You got a bit of a HUD bug, so M80 have banned out the Blitz and the Clash, hard targeting the shield for DarkZero. Now DZ will ban the Deimos, and DZ's last ban will be the Tuberau. DZ banning out the Tuberau here makes some sense. I thought maybe we'd see an Azami because that is historically what they've banned, but they've been moving away from those Azami bans, Parker. They haven't really been playing the Azami bans as much, and we've seen them bring out the strongest defender in Rainbow Six Siege on a number of different matchups here in Boston. So excited to see DarkZero expand their repertoire a little bit. I did expect the Monty ban from M80, but I didn't think that they'd be going back-to-back with 2 shields.
What could possibly have changed for DarkZero that they no longer ban the Azami all the time, Jesse? I feel like something's a little different.
Well, Parker, in case anybody didn't catch any of the group stage or social media at all, DarkZero obviously dropping their captain over the summer, Canadian, and picking up Nafe. But I will say, even after they swapped out Canadian, they kept on with a lot of those standard bans throughout Stage 2. And it's only kind of really been recently at this event that they've been expanding their repertoire a little bit more. They did drop Mint as well as their coach and brought in Kangaroo Kenny, so I'm sure he's had a big impact on DarkZero changing their style a little bit. But I kind of like the new DZ. They seem a bit more versatile, a bit more fresh, and I'm honestly been really excited watching their games so far through the tournament.
Kangaroo Kenny's probably one of the nicest people in our entire scene.
Yeah.
Just effortlessly positive. He loves being here. He loves his job. You know, there's people who work in esports, and for a lot of people, it's just a job. And at the end of the day, it is a job. It's a spectacular one, but it's still something you gotta do to help pay the bills. Kangaroo Kenny, though, for him, it's more than just that. I saw that there was some heat that he received on social media for things that he was saying, I think in the PSG Talon game. Some fans took umbrage with that, and you got a problem. Let me say it this way. You got a problem with Kangaroo Kenny, you got a problem with me, and I'll let that marinate. You gotta let that marinate, okay? So, don't think I scared anybody. What do you think?
I mean, you had a pretty scary looking leather jacket on and some scary sunglasses. I think we were pretty intimidating, you and I.
I was hoping Rob would say something about that. Like, why are you wearing a leather jacket if it's so hot out? And it's like, okay, well, let's take a second here. Cool guys wear leather jackets no matter the temperature, okay? It's a way of life. It's not a reaction to the weather.
No.
And I am a cool guy.
No.
We'll workshop it. Bambazoo, who's been not great so far this tournament, was highlighted by the desk. Jesse, he gets off to a rough start here in round number 1.
Yeah, he leaves Nafe all alone here on the extension. He's trying to get back through Dragon. He's made it quite far, headed for the hills. Nafe does escape back to his teammates. It was a little close. He took some damage, but he makes it out alive. Was trying to play that forward position alongside Pambazoo, and I think the two of them wanted to delay a little bit more time than they actually got away with. Usually that office position on the extension on the site is so powerful. You see a lot of teams play that with the Azami. Pambazoo obviously choosing not to this time around. And maybe have the map controlled.
That was NJR playing in that position for the last 30 seconds, Jesse, just waiting things out. And I mean, the frustrations that NJR has battled as a player have been very well documented. Many people on social media have talked about it. There's been chatter about it here at the actual event, both in our green room and amongst other players. Something is off with the DZ vibes. I don't know what it is. Despite that, they're still in a good spot. Nitro Cell from Naval collect Kino Spoit Dines as well. 2 for DZ as we hit the 1 minute to go mark.
Yeah, the flashbangs to force Nafe to rotate back to the bottom floor as well, leaving his 2 teammates, Bolo and Kobe, alone. Bolo falls. An answer, though, coming out from Packer as he finds another pick, leaves Nafe all alone in the 1v3.
He's going to have to contend with that big shield of Gunner and 2 other players who will eventually be in the action. Diffuser's the one getting the plant down. Packer, the final kill on the Ying. So many things going right for M80 in that round. Hard to mention all of them in the rigmarole of the actual round. Oh, he's so loud.
Nice shot. I made a silly, goofy play.
M80 is the most versatile coach because Bodega can scream at the opponent whether they're an English-speaking team or a Portuguese-speaking team, and that covers the vast majority of teams at the Six Invitational. People talk about what Bodega brings to the server sometimes, and I think that's an underrated aspect. He's going to get in your head no matter what language you're speaking. Love to hear Bodega fire it off at the end.
Kobe didn't even look at the Nitro style. Cool guys don't look at explosions. See, it's just a cool guy day today, Jesse.
It's a cool guy summer, I feel.
It's cool guy summer. It was, you know, a lot of people said it was Brat summer. And maybe it is Brat summer for M80. Let's put it this way. M80's colors, their green in particular, is very close.
That's true.
To the green album cover of Charlie XCX's Brat. And it's not just Brat, it's actually M80.
A little tie-in there is possible.
It's a great record. I actually quite enjoy it.
Did you?
I did not think I would like that kind of music.
I didn't think you'd like that kind of music either.
I know, because you think that I listen to...
You listen to music from like the 30s, Parker. Exclusively. You're an old man with old man taste.
Okay. Really hurts my feelings.
Great start coming in round number 1 from Packer. He's had a bit of a tough start. And Gunner as well, obviously, rocking that Blackbeard. I feel like we don't see Gunner on the Blackbeard too often, although I guess he's run it a few times. That was his 5th round at this event that he's played on the Blackbeard, and now as he jumps on the Operator again, this will be his 6th time playing the newest Shield Operator in Rainbow Six Siege. Of course, a lot of people talked about how dominant this Blackbeard has been, and he is scary. If you're playing him correctly, if you're playing him well, he can get you so much free space and then find frags on players that are running away as well. He gets a lot of value in the right hands, and Gunner, not a player you expect to be on the shields all the time, but Blackbeard's a bit of a different ballgame, you know? It can be kind of an aggressive player's shield, as it's still got that primary weapon with a fast rate of fire. So there's a lot that you can do on this Operator. And he looks to jump in Geisha to start this round. Looks like they want to wait for the wall to open first.
I was gonna say, it doesn't look like anybody's actively holding it. The silhouettes are hard to tell. Nave has now been put in a position where he can retake it. The Bandit, too, is fallen off towards Drum. Nave almost getting a read on the Blackbeard. Gunner sustaining a lot of damage, but Gunner somehow emerges from that in the wrong direction. Now a follow-up from Spoit on to Nave. Nave is living on borrowed time at the moment. They've called the cavalry into Geisha. Devastating start for M80.
And this exothermic, if it didn't get destroyed by the electricity, yeah, will open up a foothold, and that's massive, forcing Kobe out of the position. He's got a buddy up with Nath now. If they don't get at least one pick here, they could get slaughtered in a quick fashion.
It's gonna get very cozy in there. You could sweep through and kill both of them at the same time. You're not gonna be able to do much with that opening. It just works to push the defenders out of that position. M80 didn't want to hold Geisha, so they've maneuvered somewhere else, and Kobe was waiting for it, so was Nave. Cozy, but boy, oh boy, the warmth will guide them forwards. Now it's Diffuser marching on up, finishing off what remains of Kobe, but through the soft wall. He's taken down. Nave will struggle to confirm almost a flawless answer back from DarkZero.
No. Whatever that is, the Jade, whatever the fuck. Let's go.
Made some confidence-inspiring rounds early on, Jesse.
Yeah, both teams off to a hot start here. It's good to see. A lot of the players that people sometimes criticize, Kobe, Nath, for not having the most gun skill on DarkZero, not showing up the biggest in previous events, are both showing up in this game, and that's what you need in an important matchup here, upper bracket up against M80. Just a really strong extension coming out. You saw the first time the extension happened, the Blackbeard kind of took over, but with Nath hitting that beauty shot onto Gunner to start this round, M80 all of a sudden lost their teeth. They didn't have their front man anymore. Sure, you still got Spoit running around with the Ash, but he wasn't able to get the job done. And then after that opening pick came through from Nath, he and Kobe combined for 2 more, and they were really able to lock down that roam game. You don't often talk about Nath as the top-tier frag-focused roamers, but IGLs on DarkZero have a habit of getting active in the early game.
NJR still held off of the scoreboard. Him and Bolo suffering through 2 bad rounds. Kino and Spoit find themselves in the same position on side of M80. There's some very talented players that have been unable to have a major impact. And NJR in particular playing very high-value utility roles. He played Smoke in that very first round. He was a target dummy. As you saw, he got slaughtered early. And they played a zombie in the next round. Now back to Smoke, and he doesn't even have an assist to his name, which means he wasn't particularly impactful on any of the action in either round. NJR having a puzzlingly weird tournament, well below his expectations, and yet still doing well on the score sheet.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a fantastic tournament so far. Not the greatest start to this game. Mayor McCheese actually leads the Six Invitational with 114 kills through groups. Nobody has gotten more raw number of frags so far through SI. 23-year-old is attending his 5th Invitational in a row.
One thing I will say about all these DZ players, they have a lot of deaths as well. So, I mean, 114 kills might look great, but if you've got 107 deaths, you kind of wonder what's going on there, right? Kobe's in a very similar position. Bambazoo is the one player who is having a rough go of it on DZ consistently. One of his worst tournaments in a very long time, Jesse. He and Nafe will now watch from the bench as these rounds are ultimately so one-sided. M80 punished DarkZero in the first round. No real answer back from DZ. Then DZ did the same on round number 2. Now it looks like it's M80's turn to do it again.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting push from M80 too. Spending a lot of resources to take that bottom floor, of course, with Diffuser and Spoit down there too inside of the pantry. Having a buck down below Drum in this site can be really advantageous. It's going to make Bolo's life very awkward as he sits inside of Drum at the moment. These players down below want to. They could disrupt them. At the moment, Diffuser hasn't actually used that skeleton key from below. Playing around the hatches. Now he will begin with some pings inside of Geisha. Does he find Kobe? He does.
It's a tough angle to engage at. NJR sustaining some damage from that brouhaha as well. He's hugging that bomb chassis very tightly upstairs inside of T. Bolo, a desperate attempt down below, but Spoit wins the engagement, catches him off guard, and it's NJR now, hunted by the bees inside of T, all alone in a 1v5. Diffuser manages to find that final kill as he asserts himself on the top floor. The Diffuser, not the player. The case was in the process of being planted as well, so things were going to go from bad to worse for NJR had he survived. Very limited impact from some of these star players from DZ. Despite that, they only find themselves in the hole by 1 round. What is that? What is that? Why does it sound like you have a witch boiling in oil? Yo! You need to get the kills! Ah!
Oh my god, I'm actually dead. That was interesting. Listen, great round from Diffuser. You don't often see Diffuser picking up the buck on M80. Usually that's Gunner's role, but Gunner was getting good value with the Grim instead. I thought maybe we'd hear the witch again, but no. Good push from M80. Again, taking that bottom floor control is not the most standard way that you see teams push in to the Tea Room Karaoke bomb site, but Gunner did a great job of kind of making that space up top. Spoit and Diffuser then entered down below and were able to have some fantastic pings for Diffuser to get those kills, the one on Kobe in particular. Opened things up, forced Bolo's hand to try to make an aggressive play, and by that point, it was already too little, too late. M80 super ready for it. They will take a 2-1 lead attacking on Skyscraper. Parker, this is extremely weird to see. Skyscraper often talked about it as the most defender-sided map in Rainbow Six Siege. I don't know if it holds that title this event so far, but historically, that's what we always say about Skyscraper.
Yeah, it's very friendly turf for the defenders, and you know you've got all 4 bomb sites that are playable. Brazil, in particular, really loved that bedroom bomb site for a long time.
Yeah, back in stage 1.
Yeah, if you look at the overall defender win rates right now, Skyscraper has actually just eked ahead of Consulate. Consulate's been the most defender-sided bomb site for the majority of this event. It's still up there. Consulate has been played the 2nd most time of any single map. The only map ahead of it is Chalet. Consulate sits at 64% of rounds won by the defenders, 36 won by the attackers. Skyscraper is a tiny bit above that, but it's only been played 4 times.
Okay.
So a huge difference. It's been played 1/3 of the time that Consulate's been played. 67% of the rounds have been won by defenders to 33% for the attackers. It's not a huge difference, but what really does kind of throw these stats into turmoil is the amount of plays.
For sure, but still, they are kind of aligning with historical results, so it may not be a huge surprise.
And do you expect this to become more attacker-sided the longer we see Skyscraper get played? Like, conventional wisdom suggests no, but this matchup might be an outlier. The attackers have the advantage in terms of numbers, and now they have an advantage in this round. NJR, 0-3. He's the first to die.
Nafe follows him right to the grave, though. Diffuser picks up a great second pickup, and M80's pushes have looked flawless. Gunner finds Kobe as well. Bolo's got the vert angle, so that's something. Takes down the Blackbeard, but the desperation plays just aren't working for DarkZero. Bolo's gonna need to ace to win this round for DZ. And although he hit some great shots, wait, could he do it?
Bolo's looking for more. This is the same area where he died in the previous round. He was hoping for that rotate panel that leads into cans, storage, delivery, whatever teams refer to it as. Pantry. This is very winnable. NitroCell goes out, nobody home. Bolo, the very tough task of emerging, but the moment Kino had the read on him, he lost the soft wall next to him, and Bolo was not long for this Earth. 3-1, quite the early advantage for M80.
Yeah, beauty pushes still from M80. That will actually force a tack timeout. Let's listen to for Kangaroo Kenny.
They open the black wall. They pressure in top black. Why are they acing open the B1 wall? Because they probably want to enter tables. So, if they're doing a black direct, we need less emphasis on the backstab. Kobe can leave drums, he can come down, reinforcing it. Let's just look at what they're doing and react. Like we can move, we can react to what they're doing. We can help each other. Just infer what they're doing. Everything they're doing has a reason. They're heavily utilising the black bin, so let's keep up. No more Azami. Let's just keep up with the Ella, the smoke, the lesion. This is all good. They're also heavy drones below, so potentially if you want to utilise visual to game below, otherwise don't go below.
He really stuck the landing on that. Wow, the moment that it ran out, he was done talking.
Yeah, and I think he provided some great wisdom as well. It felt like in that last round, he was able to read into what that push was going to be for M80 better than his players were. He's focusing on the fact that, yeah, they're coming towards black. They're opening up the wall into barbecue. You guys need to recognize that and then realize that they're going to do it for some reason. There's some purpose behind these moves from M80. That's got to be the biggest thing. M80 came into this game so prepared to play Skyscraper. I go back to that conversation I had with Budega in the hallway, and he was so excited. He thought that DZ made such a mistake leaving this map up for them to select. And I'm not that critical of DZ for making a mistake because it's not been a common map for M80, right? They beat DarkZero on this map all the way back in stage 1, but they haven't played it since the summer when they had a very different roster. So it clearly says to me that M80 have been waiting to play this map. They've been waiting to play it against a top-tier opponent like DarkZero, and I really think that they won the map ban phase, at least for this first map, and they got a battleground that DarkZero might just not be able to contest them on.
We've been interested because Kangaroo Kenny specifically said, let's drop the Azami, and yet there's NJR rocking Azami yet again. I wonder if that's just general wisdom and not necessarily a direct order for every single bomb site. He said, let's keep up the smoke, let's keep up the Ella, let's keep up the Legion. You see 2 of those 3 operators right now being piloted by Pambazoo and Bolo. I guess the troubling part for DarkZero is that of those operators that Kangaroo Kenny listed, they've been often in the hands of Pambazoo and NJR, both of whom have had their pronounced struggles, not just in this event, but also in this match right now. Pambazoo, 1 kill, 3 deaths. NJR, 0 kills, 3 deaths. That is just simply well below what we know they are capable of. And if they're dying early on those high-value ops, not only are you losing a great player, you're losing an op that is integral for your defense.
Nafe ratting on a mute jammer. Watch out, as Spoit's making a lot of noise down below. They don't seem to be aware of Nafe's position. He goes for a swing now, but caught by Diffuser.
M80 had 2 separate people on that main floor also droning well, and Kangaroo Kenny called this one too. He said that a lot of drones on that main floor. Be careful. That explained why Nafe was seeking some salvation on that mute jammer to keep him at bay, but unfortunately, first to die yet again. M80 has been very, very good at drawing first blood.
See what these Kiva barriers can do in slowing them down. The coach didn't think that they were going to be super valuable, but you are still going up against 2 shields, and certainly it can help you with your angles still. Most powerful defender in the game, always going to be getting value out of those Kivas. And they do still have answers to the shields too. Of course, those Legion mines will be littered throughout the map. Bolo on that smoke late round is going to be a huge impact. And JR holds strong. Kobe is the other point of content, played by Minibar.
He's going to have a ton of choice as to who he goes for here. A lot of damage done to him, so they call Pambazoo up for support. Both of them now looking towards Terrace, and NitroCell will go out by Kobe. An awful lot of damage has been done. No kills secured. Bolo kills Kobe with his own smoke. Oh my goodness, Pambazoo though tearing through them inside of Terrace. Flattened both by the Monty and Packer over his shoulder. NJR will need to break that goose egg if DarkZero wants a chance at this round. Kino's boxed him out. Bolo is there for some added pressure. But now it's NJR in a 1v2. The shield of Kino and Spoit on that Ash. Spoit on very limited HP. NJR will need to take back the bomb site, and Spoit knows exactly where he's going to come from. Spoit should be prepared for this. NJR gives his position away. Spoit needs to go for the reload. NJR wins the duel, but the diffuser is down, and he's in a 1v1 against a Montaigne. Oh, my. Kino can still bottle this. I mean, he's going for kills at this point.
It's harder post-nerf to win this 1v1.
You never want to find yourself in this position, though, Jesse. It doesn't matter. It's still a Monty. And I do agree with you. Kino was trying to give him nothing, trapped in the corner. NJR going for the legs. Kino playing this one perfectly so far. Frustration from NJR as he gets so far away from the defuse kit. That's the round for M80 as Kino tries for a full 360. NJR will get nothing as finally steps in a goo mine. The Monty goes down, but
You are ass! Come on, baby. Come on, shut up.
Diffuser talking about donkeys. Not sure why that's being weighed in on, but 4 rounds now for M80.
Wait, yo.
It's Gunner who
It
the
is
witch
Gunner.
is.
Gunner is the boiling witch.
Willie also owned EU. Wait, virus and threat protection. Bro, Sean, or Kiki, I was like, move, like you were blocking him, bro. He was
It's the only bomb site, by the way, that we had seen DZ prevail on back in round number 2. It was the answer back to M80's great performance to start off this map. But yeah, all the confidence in the world right now for M80.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember back at the Atlanta Major, it was Kino and the Monty that arguably got him benched for the Six Invitational 2024 in Sao Paulo. There's a lot of criticism on how he played this operator.
Come on! 360, another one! Another 360! What are you doing?
Another 360.
But he's having fun with it now, you know? The Monty play from Kino has been getting a lot better. That was a great example of how to play a 1v1 with that Montaigne. Not just stay alive as long as you can, but make sure you bait out that clock by drawing him as far away as possible. Even though Kino died in the end, it didn't matter because the last player on DZ wasn't able to go back and disable in time. That's played really well. And you know, those post plants, 1v1s on the Monty, have haunted Kino in his career in the past. I remember bank server stairs. I remember some Pengu tweets. They weren't always so strong, but Kino is showing up strong today.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Remember?
What?
Nothing, never mind. I realized that I was about to say it. I was like, he's not going to get the reference, so that's fine. It's A-okay.
Another one of your 1960s songs, I assume.
I said keep up on the Ella, but the 2 rounds that have been played out since then have been absent in Ella. Smoke and Legion have extraordinarily high pick rates at this event. Azami is the most banned defender, but has the most prominence when you include pick rate. Mute is actually the most picked defender, tied actually with Smoke. So those SAS boys, the 2 most picked operators for defenders, you're going to see a Mute and you're going to see a Smoke 46% of the time. That means one of them will almost certainly be in every round. Oh my. Bolo gets hit by a drive-by. A Packer on the window. Kino pummeling NJR. NJR did get 2 kills in the previous round. They weren't very worthwhile. Bambazu coming alive, slaughtered by the glass. Out goes a Nitro Cell, and Nafe pushes the issue. A smart read as the Nitro Cell goes sailing over top of the glass. M80 still has an advantage in numbers. This has been a very quick round, Jesse. 120 still to play.
Salvageable, though. Kobe knows this is an angle. He walks in, takes the gunfight, wins it over Spoit. That's equal numbers now. Diffuser and Packer, the last 2 alive in the top floor. They'll get the man advantage once again, though.
Kobe will need to go for 3 here. As Dave is down, Diffuser and Packer left alive, but it's M80 who gets nothing but net on that one. What a first half for M80, Jesse. They hold DZ to a single round.
I'm actually nasty on the Ying on this map.
I would like to reference those numbers again. There have only been 4 skyscrapers at this event, but the defenders are winning 67% of those rounds. 1 round as a defender is... That's like annihilation.
That's a horrible half. That's horrible. Like, this might just be GG go next territory for DarkZero. I'm not kidding. You've got to come back 5-1 attacking on Skyscraper. Good luck. against a team who clearly have prepared so many strats on this map, where you look very underprepared. Even in the TAC timeout, Kanker Kenny wasn't saying, guys, play this strat we remember, play this strat we remember. He was saying, you need to be looking at what they're doing and reading them. Like, all we can do is adapt to them. I'm sure DarkZero have setups and strats on this map, right? You come to SI, you're gonna have preparations for all 9 maps, especially if you're not banning them at a BO3. But it clearly seems like M80 came into this game far more ready to play Sky than DZ did.
M80 have so much agency on this map. Like, DZ is not really influencing the pace of the map whatsoever.
No.
As defenders, they were often just sitting, holding position, stationary like a turret. They were getting run over. They weren't firing back. The few opportunities that we saw DZ take to roam got answered by M80's drone work almost immediately.
Yeah.
DZ have come up empty-handed time and time again.
Well, time to do the impossible, DarkZero. 5 attacks is what you're gonna need to force it into overtime. Good luck. There'll be Office Exhibition to start things off for M80. They've got a pretty normal looking setup. Gunner running around a bit on that Vigil, but not running the Boss G. A lot of players will find that the K1A is just more reliable. It's more versatile. You can use it in a lot of different situations. He's playing over by Geisha. The players on DZ are choosing not to start over there. They are choosing to take bottom floor and then focus on the site more so than anything. We saw Nitro go out to try to deny the Maverick play over on the single wall, but it was not successful. So Bolo can keep his life for now. 2 minutes in the round, and we start to see a few players on DarkZero rotate over towards Geisha. Sitting inside is going to be Gunner, I believe, playing on this angle. Hoping to be front man.
They vault on in, and again, not really being able to influence much of this map. Spoit takes NJR down. Now it's Nave's turn in the afterlife. Gunner with a second kill. Pambazu falters. GG go next territory. Jesse, you called it yourself. I mean, we are 90 seconds into this round. Bolo and Kobe are the last two standing. Bolo is downstairs and in the building, but Kobe is nowhere close. He was trying to take care of a Selma over towards Terrace that we last saw. More impressive, I think, is that no damage was done to M80. Gunner with a very quick 2-piece, and not only is it a flawless round based on players alive, it's a flawless round because DZ did 0 damage that entire round. 6-1 the first half. A flawless round for M80. It's their second here on this map. There is nothing good that we can say about DZ at this point.
Yeah, so, I mean, let's glaze M80 instead. Gunner, what play inside of Geisha. My God, the way he was flicking around to hit those shots. The Manchester MVP has been M80's best player through the group stage, and he's often found himself active on those roams. He's a 40% entry participation on the defense. That's the highest in the tournament. That means he is taking the vast majority compared to the rest of his teammates of those opening gunfights on D. And while he didn't quite get the opening pick in that round, his extended play all the way over towards Geisha was the thing that won them that round. It has been a nightmare for DarkZero.
29 kills on the side of M80 to 18 for DarkZero through 7 rounds of play. The team that draws first blood has a 100% conversion rate. And these have been clean first bloods, Jesse. No trades, nothing. They've come usually around the 2-minute to 1-minute 40-second mark remaining in the round. So somebody is dead with half of the round to go on either side, usually on the side of DZ. That means with the exception of 1 round, Jesse, DZ have been playing a 4v5 for at least half of every single round that they've played. None of the fancy numbers look very good. NJR cut off a wire. Pambazu dies to Packer. And what did we say here? Diffuser goes for a run out because why not at this point? Take matters into your own hands. Kobe sprinting in, taking down Spoit, but his run comes to an end at the hands of Packer. Packer, one of the lowest rated players in this entire event, period, Jesse.
Yeah. No, he's been fantastic today, though. Bolo hunting for even more. Kino backs off. Packer's been exceptional. Another frag now on the Nafe.
And Kino's gonna go close up to deal with this Blackbeard, keep him at bay. Oh my.
Yeah, I mean, is he wrong, though?
No. Unless Bolo pulls off a 1v3, which is entirely possible. I mean, even Nathan said, yeah, we'll see you next map. It is DZ's map pick of Clubhouse. So we'll let Jason Doty play this one out, but I mean, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point.
He can grab the fuse kit, and he's got a ton of time, and he's on Blackbeard.
I appreciate you playing devil's advocate here, but the devil doesn't need any more allies in this matchup.
It is not the least winnable round I've ever seen, I'll say that.
Well, I mean, Bolo's just going to go through the fire and the flames. He's just going to go fishing for kills. I mean, you're not going to roll over and give up, but it's really quite a hopeless situation. I appreciate what he's trying to do. The thing with Bolo is that if you give him an inch, he can take a mile. But with the way M80's played so far on this map, I see really no reason to think that anybody on the side of DZ would be able to win even a 1v1, let alone a 1v3.
Got a great defensive positioning, all these crossfires.
He manages to get one drop. Hold on. We've set the scene here for Bolo to pull off the most improbable clutches. Kino will back away as he sees his team shrink down in size. Packer a little bit out of reach, unretrievable. Kino with no utility. He manages to escape and he runs outside. Bolo has full control of the site. Keep in mind the smoke is isolated for 20 seconds. Kino is outdoors. Bolo will go for the vault out. Kino escapes inside. He might have an opportunity to get a Packer, but instead the call is to go back underneath the bomb site and just wait it out. Bolo has played this so well, but he doesn't have access to the fuser, Jesse. And with 2 seconds to go, it will end up being the most heartbreaking round for DarkZero that we saw on Skyscraper.
2 failed clutches, that's gotta be heartbreaking for the MVP of DarkZero. He put up his best this game, but it just wasn't enough. M80, they are the kings of Skyscraper. They came into this so prepared, so ready. A plan executed to perfection.
And they are very confident with the way that they played for good reason. Map number 2 is DZ's pick of Clubhouse. It'll be up in a couple minutes, but we've got a break for you first. See ya.
Available now.
DZ left the rounds at home this time. Unfortunately for them, that's not a great start, Fox. That is an absolute slapping if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, to be fair, it wasn't necessarily DZ playing bad. I mean, yes, this is a good map for... They were playing bad. It wasn't a great map for them. They've only played it once in the last year. It's not... I don't think they expected it to even come out. But M80 was playing so well. The attacks, I mean, to go 5-1 on your attacks is disgusting.
Yeah.
Clearly, their strategy was base level, getting their opening kills, and then they just played together as a team. It was basic fundamentals that M80 was doing so well. Besides, like, the overpeaking on that last round, they weren't doing anything too crazy. They were just playing consistent siege. DZ was just simply not ready for it.
Well, for DZ, even in their first round that they did win on defense, it was really off the backing of Nafe just having kind of rat plays, just catching M80 off guard, where they would immediately correct it going into that third round and then would find Nafe below, finish him, and then they would just take sight from there.
Yeah, it looked like DZ was a little rattled because even in the last clip right there, Kobe jumping over the rafters with the pistol out.
That made both me and you were like, what are you doing?
I think DZ kind of lost the plot a little bit in the middle of the round, and they were just trying to grasp at straws and just maybe out-frag M80, but it was just looked really rough.
But to me, that falls back to Nafe, though, their leader, of just getting everyone back on the same page. Because again, there was no reason for Kobe Lax to jump over there and try to go for like a miracle play when the man advantage was even, and then to just sell your life and then have the round continue to just look horrible after. I mean, DZ, you got to be better than what we just saw.
Fox, we've seen a lot of shield play so far this event, but we're starting to get a little bit happier with this one. I don't know, maybe you want it, Lax.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, we were highlighting Kino isn't that great on the shields because he was doing his turtle stuff, but here he actually played it really well. This was a really good execute and a really good back and forth from both the teams. I love the sped up sound. It just sounds like Alvin and the Chipmunks right now. But it was a good play from here. Bolo takes that kill, but then immediately trades back from Kino. They get the bomb down. This was such a pivotal spot for Spoit, being 1 HP and keeping NJR at base so Kino can play this to a T. I was a little skeptical here because Kino was obviously trying to fight this, but then it just comes into this. I mean, Kino is literally dog walking NJR through the map, kind of giving him the rundown, a little tourist guide for Kino, saying, take a look here, here's Dragon, here's Top, here's Top House.
Nick! You're a pussy! Come on!
Oh!
Come on!
Oh!
360, another one! Another 360!
Yeah,
Where are we going?
I mean, I can understand the excitement. That might have been just Kino's first shield play that ever worked out. But this play was so pivotal and so smart. The fire isolates Kino outside on the balcony. As soon as he hears the vault, he runs through the fire, doesn't pick up his teammate, runs down the stairs, and continues playing time. Maybe not the most selfless play. He let Packer die, but he completely plays his life to stall Bolo out, doesn't give an opportunity for him to get a fight. And thank God Kino did that, because before that, we saw 2 M80 members just swing the BB shield. And thank God Kino saved the day to
He
close
ran
it
past
out.
Packer and said, pack it up, bud, and then just booked him down the staircase. I mean, I'm glad you highlighted Kino, saying that, you know, he's the most improved player, because given those 2 rounds, they were so pivotal of keeping DZ in the fight. So the fact that he was able to close it out with such phenomenal shield play, and like you said, that was probably his best shield play we've seen from him.
That's the only one I've seen work.
It's looking good.
I mean, Kino, those were smart plays.
Yes.
And I was very happy with what I saw, because when we picked up Kino, I mean, that guy left his brain at home. So thankfully, we've seen some progress. And I do think, I agree. I stand on the statement. He's the best player on M80 right now. I think he's the most improved.
I also see why Bodega was so happy about this map. I mean, a 7-1, that's convincing.
I'm not going to lie, in this entire segment, my favorite part might be your voice that you do to mock people. Hey,
Packer, back it up, bud. I'm going down.
Hey, back it up. Let's back it up. Let's go to a break, eh? Hey, we'll be back after this.
There are many great players who are not champions, who have never lifted the hammer, who might never lift the hammer. And it's not because they aren't good enough, they just might not put in what it requires to really get there. Because they are the goods and not the greats.
There is not 1 hour of the day where your mind can be off siege. You have to sacrifice everything to win.
If you were to win any event and call it quits, it would probably be the Six Invitational.
Chegar no topo uma vez, então assim foi um momento de muita emoção.
The Invitational is, the kind of the final checkpoint, the final test. It meant the world to me.
History will be
be made here because for the first time on home soil, a Brazilian team will win a world championship.
The only thing that matters is the 4 guys next to you, your coach, and the screen in front of you.
No one ever really just goes and wins. You have to go through the pain, the hardships.
Fãs are exploding!
You have to go all in, that's it.
Quem perdeu foi nós tudo ali, e a gente que vai virar isso aqui agora.
Você tem que confiar muito no seu time.
Não vamos desistir, não vamos desistir.
Damir Sakiemi and brought it all the way back!
Fácil demais, porra!
When you truly want to become the best, you truly have to believe that you are, because you have to play it 100%.
Hi, my name is Gunnar, and this is my operator.
Hello, my name is Boyd, and this is my operator. If there's a nationality I could pick for an operator, I'll probably pick Swedish because I'm Swedish, so, you know, I have to represent.
The nationality I would pick is America.
An ability I would like to see on an operator would be an operator who could turn off the lights in the room, just everything goes dark, and then take it from there.
My gadget would be like, if there was a shield anywhere in the map, it would just tell me, and then it would give me like a lion scan wall hack, but only for the shield. Because my gadget allows me to see that there's something on the shield that just shows me where they're at all times. And if I do get close to them, my bullets go through the shield. They don't block them. I just insta-kill them. They're just dead every time. That'd be my ability.
I would like to see a football outfit in Siege, you know, the whole Brazil kit or whatever.
My wild card would be that the operator has perma-emberized, so it's not banned in the server because it's its default skin. So not only can I kill all the shields, no one can see me, and I'm just like the GOAT operator. My operator's name would be Gunna. Not with an R, just an A, just Gunna.
So the operator name would be Håkan, very Swedish name, if you know, you know, and yeah, peace out.
I think Spoy's just completely forgotten about Capitao there for a second. That's it. I think it might be even better for his operator to be able to do flat packs really quick. What do you think?
I think that'd be good, but I feel like Spoy was already playing as his operator because it didn't look like DZ was able to do anything. DZ was playing with their monitors off. So.
I mean, the lights were definitely
the lights were off.
The power was shut. I mean,
the lights were too bright.
It was not doing a good job.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. It's hard. We do go to Clubhouse now, though, which might give us a bit more hope, Lax.
I mean, you gotta think it's gonna give you hope. DZ's going to a very default map. Obviously, you couldn't make it work on Skyscraper. You almost pulled your logo out in that 1-7. So hopefully now in Clubhouse, where you can just play to your strengths, you can play to your defaults. You don't got to be super particular with anything. You just can't be making more mistakes than the other team. So a little comfort here for Clubhouse. They can wipe away Skyscraper, but if you can't adapt on these defenses, where again, this is a map that's going to be one off your attacks. You couldn't even get an attack out. It kind of puts me in a scary place for DZ.
Yeah, absolutely. Attacks are going to be the most important for DarkZero, especially since they're starting on attacks. They need to come in hot, and if they don't, we said it, M80 might get it at 2-0.
All right, well, I think it's time to get underway with this one. I did ask Mum coming into this if we could have the Secret Service that fights aliens, but she said, nah, we got that at home.
He's trying to say I look like default Warden, Parker?
It's very cold.
We were hoping that DarkZero would bring some heat in that last matchup, but unfortunately, they went cold. Maybe on Clubhouse, they can bring some more warmth to this game.
Oh, we need warmth desperately, really, really badly. That was a cold first map for both of these. Well, maybe not for both these teams, but the frost has gotten to my brain, Jesse.
Well, we've got one more map at least for DarkZero to try to heat things up against M80. Otherwise, they're headed straight down to the bottom of the lake. It's going to be the lower bracket run from DZ if they can't get it done here on Clubhouse. The fans seem to be swaying more towards M80. The 50-50 prediction has gone towards the victors of map number 1.
What a shock.
Not a huge surprise.
What a shock.
We'll get right into the operator bans here. Starting with the Blackbeard, I thought maybe we would see that shield ban just because M80 don't tend to like shields on this map. They often do ban the Monty or the Deimos, so we do tend to see that, and against DZ, you want to be taking that off the board. DarkZero also going for an ace ban, actually. A little bit surprising. You don't see that too often. Clearly, that's going to be a bit more targeted than what we were seeing on map number 1. I'm curious if this will be a zombie. No. Classic DarkZero would be to ban a zombie, but as I've said, they've been banning a lot less a zombie at this event. M80 perma-ban Tubarão. I couldn't find a single game where they didn't ban the Tubarão on Clubhouse, so we'll see if they keep up the pace. And certainly no surprises coming out for our final ban of the map. The stage is set, Parker. Everything is ready for M80 to either win this game here and set themselves up for a match against the world champions of Furia.
Or,
at the end of the day, or DarkZero can heat things up finally in the server and send us to a third map. Both these teams getting ready for one of the most default maps in all of Siege.
Yep. Clubhouse, aka Dubhouse. Very little changes have been made to this map when you consider how long it's been around for. Now, obviously, if you played this map in the first 2 to 3 years of Rainbow Six, you know that the upstairs floors were not connected. That old bedroom gym bomb site and the old cache CCTV site had no adjoining room. Construction and logistics were added later on to allow the defenders a bit more freedom, because the problem was that you only had 2 good, viable bomb sites. It was this bottom floor bomb site, which we will see in round number 1, and it was that middle bar stage bomb site, or bar billiards, or whatever it was officially called at that point. There's been some changes, and that's where the old bomb site used to be. The top 2 floor sites were just undefendable. There was nothing you could do. They added this construction component, they moved them closer together, and next thing you know, you've got a very balanced map. Now, it's been played 9 times. But that still makes it the second least played map. The only map that's been played less than it is Skyscraper, where we just were. And Clubhouse is a 50-50 map, Jesse. 49% of rounds won by the defenders, 51% for the attackers, so anything can happen here.
I appreciate DarkZero and M80 giving us a taste of some new maps, and as we jump on into this one, M80, the last 5 times they've played Clubhouse, the game has ended 7-5, so expect 12 rounds in their game against DarkZero, but who the winner is yet to be seen. Bolo, our opening death, and nearly an answer onto Diffuser, but he does make it down the blue hatch safely. Packer will drop the Moto hatch as well. That leaves just Spoit on the lone roam all the way to the top floor. The superstar of M80 will now be left alone to try to make some magic happen. DZ, after watching a few players fall back, they know they haven't droned the top floor, so it's not a misdrone, but they might assume that that was all of the roamers. If they make that calculation, they'll be incorrect, and a deadly flank could come late from Spoit.
abnormal to roam on a bottom floor bomb site. It was popularized by Space Station way, way back in the day, but I was like, where did he get dropped from? It's like, oh, Pambazoo was able to tear some strips through Gunner on that blue hatch. And JR's got both logic bombs in back pocket. And again, Spoit is going to be the question mark here. When will he choose to strike back against these attackers?
And we talked about the strength of Mute, how common we see him throughout this event. And part of the reason why Mute is so good is because he blocks logic bombs from Dokkaebi. He blocks the scan from Deimos as well. So with Spoit sitting on that Mute jammer the entirety of the round, is likely going to be unknown. Never mind. He immediately moves off the Mute jammer and immediately gets tracked by the Deimos. They're going to...
Down goes Kino. The smoke is gone. Spoit is obviously caught as well by DarkZero as both teams will come to blows. NJR now taking an awful lot of damage. Nave getting Diffuser down, and 2 players from DZ will be watching this. It's all Pambazoo, though, as NJR is unsuccessful. Gunner taken out inside of Church, and Nave, who had abandoned the plant moments before, will give round number 1 to DZ. Kangaroo Kenny attempting to motivate his players and keep them well balanced, because after that Skyscraper map, well, maybe a less experienced team would crumble under pressure.
Yeah, I mean, screaming, jumping around like that, it produces some body heat, and obviously DarkZero got to get some of that going in this game. Good first round. Obviously, the execute looked pretty clean. They knew, I don't think they ever droned that Spoit was upstairs, but they were able to ping out one of those Goyo canisters down inside the basement. They realized, okay, there's a Goyo on the map somewhere, but they didn't find him as they were droning in through the site, and they might have also had an inkling that, you know what, Spoit likes to play the Goyo on the site. Spoit's a big roamer. Let's Deimos track him just to be sure, and of course, the timing was awful for Spoit. Lined up just perfectly for DZ, and they were able to catch him out. They made the call to just hit the site as soon as they realized that Spoit was top floor as well. They got that piece of information and said, let's just rush into the bomb site. The execute went beautifully. Pamba and Nafe racking up all the kills as they made that execute go through. So a much better start for DarkZero than what we saw on Skyscraper, and that would be expected with, as you said, Clubhouse leaning more towards the attackers than the most defender-sided map in the game.
Bar stage has been played 1 time, by the way.
We casted that, didn't we? Because I remember debating. We talked about it. Maybe it was just...
I think we talked about it as a possibility. I don't think we ever actually saw it ourselves.
Right.
The bottom floor bomb site is not a very fruitful place to be for defenders. 46 times it's been played, and 46% of those times it's been won by the defenders, so... 55-45 effectively favoring the attackers, and it really comes down to time management. Every time we cast Clubhouse, we'd say that it takes about minute 30 to 2-ish minutes to properly drone. You'll be at the mercy of castles, vigils, and mutes if they are on the board. Bolo dies early yet again. 2nd round in a row where Gunner has outdueled him.
Crazy. Bolo going down the Capitao immediately, and Gunner's just sitting in the site. Might have been a vert angle, or maybe on the breach.
That's the Hector face.
Okay, you gotta stop. Losing your Capitao is gonna make taking Garage really difficult. I guess they already have it. We've seen Nave throwing it from this position, but you'd still would have liked those Capitao bolts to provide some pressure inside of these anchors.
Oh my.
Roam clearers.
Nave is off to a sensational start. 3 kills so far, almost a 4th onto Spoit. It just manages to slip through his fingers. Nave is already at half of the kills that he had in map number 1. He and Bolo both had 6 kills to lead the way for their team. Yes, you heard that correctly. 6 kills was the top for DZ. If you didn't watch that Skyscraper matchup, the little 1-7 that you see the top part of your screen really does tell the story. I mean, what really was as dominant as that scoreline would suggest. It was a blowout. Down goes Spoit as Pambazoo shows no fear, breaking in from construction into bedroom. There's an old diffuser. Nafe will wait for some level of information. Oh my! As diffuser gets slaughtered through the wall, Gunner another kill. Nafe finishes off what Pambazoo had started, but Nafe will have to get into the building with that kit. He's only got 30 seconds to do that. A vault into weight room, seemingly likely.
Been chaos so far. That Nitro not going to land on anyone outside the building. This one, though, outside the gym window, also not landing. Here come the flashbangs to set up this push. They've wasted all their util, Parker.
And Nave is now in. Packer on the board. MP7s for the defenders, getting all the kills so far. A wraparound from Kino, looking to exploit the time and the distraction. It's all up to Packer to clutch. He takes down one. Nave in a compromising position, but Nave for the second round in a row gets off of the defuse and makes the right call. More smiles already on the face of DarkZero, and we're only 6 minutes in than we saw at any point on map number 1. Nave has been extraordinary so far.
Yeah, brilliant decision-making from Nafe in the late round. You know, the English captain of this American team, he's one of only 5 players at the Six Invitational before today's games were played that had double digits of plants. He's had 10 plants through the group stage, and he decided not to plant. And that was a critical decision in the last second or two of the round because NJR overswung on the cover, didn't know exactly where Packer was at, lost that gunfight, and forced Nafe to make this decision with 3 seconds to get off the kit, pull out that secondary, and hit the shot. Perfectly executed by the captain, and Nave immediately was typing in his server, as you saw in the post round here. Beautifully done. That's that split-second decision-making that separates good players from great players, and Nave truly is one of the greats trying to lead DarkZero to a trophy. 5-0 start from the captain on map 2.
Again, 6 kills, the high water mark back in map number 1. Nafe is very close to doing that again, and it's not just those 5 kills alone, it's how important they have been. He picked up a couple mid-round kills, but that was instrumental in round number 1 in locking down those final 2 picks, and then did the same with the final player in the previous round as well.
Nafe will select the Monty for round number 3, and Nafe actually has more shield picks than any other player, more Monty picks specifically, I should say, than any other player at the Invitational other than guards. But unlike guards, Nafe actually has a pretty decent win rate for this operator. 7 wins, 7 losses. Guards is 4-12, so not as successful on the Montaigne. Nafe has probably been the best Monty at the event, just by the stats so far.
You love your hot takes about shields and sniper ops.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Kino being the best sniper player in the world is a hot take. Nobody else plays sniper.
What about Kino being the best shield player in the world?
Well, I never said that. I wouldn't put those words into my mouth.
I hear the pitter-patter of Nick's feet as he's now running into the room to yell at us for saying something nice about Kino on shields.
Well, he did have a good round on Sky playing the Monty.
He did. He did a couple 360s. He was very flashy. I just remember standing next to Nick on multiple occasions watching the man descend into madness. Spoy's having a rough go of this. Panbazoo is actually the first to die. Gunner again leading the way on these opening picks. Kobe answers back, and Spoyd is now left to potentially bleed out. Kino might be his savior on red stairs. Gunner with all 3 opening picks to start off Clubhouse, and it has been in vain. He killed Bolo in round 1, he killed Bolo in round 2, he kills Panbazoo in round 3. These are high-profile targets. This round is gone. DZ crushing M80, a perfect rotation on attack. This is just an attacker-sided matchup at this point. Skyscraper and now Clubhouse. Boo Boo not taking his time out, at least not that we have heard.
No, not gonna get called yet. It's also great trades from Kobe Lax.
They all just drank out of their coffee cups.
That's an in-sync team right there.
I'm glad to see Kobe having a bounce-back performance. You know, his stats that if memory serves correctly, his stats that we saw from him is 104 kills and 106 deaths, which is still not great. I mean, on his role, you want to have a little bit of distance between your kills and your deaths.
Let's go! What can they do? What can they do?
But close to trading yourself out every single round. I mean, there are much worse situations for him and his role to be in.
Certainly, I mean, just being positive is a big step up from the last event. Kobe being able to trade his teammates here on Clubhouse has been exceptionally important for DarkZero to roll these rounds into win after win after win. Kobe Lax coming into this, as you mentioned, 106 kills to 104 deaths. More than doubling his kill total of Montreal just through the group stage. He had 41 kills in Montreal, breaking 100 in just their last game against PSG Talon. And I don't believe he's had a single negative series since the first day of SI. So he's absolutely showing up big for DarkZero so far. Being the entry they need him to be, he's been a much better player than he was at his first event, and that's important for DarkZero, because there's a lot of talk about Kobe coming into this tournament. I think he's really been able to silence a lot of people, though.
Speak of
okay.
Spoit breaking his goose egg, traded back by Pamba immediately, but the stats will show that as 4 rounds in a row for M80 to strike first. Yet, the scoreline above shows 0 rounds in their favor. This time it was a trade, admittedly. It's the second trade that we saw, as DZ were very good at keeping it close in round number 3, too. Gunnar got that pick, but was answered back right away. If DZ is gonna be put in positions where they are constantly fighting from behind, maybe bringing people in with an escort is a good idea. That's exactly what we saw in both of the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, it just highlights the point even more, right? The trade game from DarkZero on these entry picks. Yes, they might be losing a lot of their first frags, but it doesn't matter when the trade is so clean and immediate behind that first death. Also, Kobe doesn't lose that first gunfight if I don't curse him seconds before.
Don't really think that's how it works.
Sorry, Kobe.
I don't really think that's how it works.
I'll take the L on this one.
Nave still yet to die through 3 rounds. Bolo still yet to get a kill through 3 rounds. Kino also took some time to find his first kill on Skyscraper. The same thing will happen again, but with how M80 has just been getting flattened.
Right now it's 2 dirt, 2 blue from DarkZero, by the way. This is a weird push.
He's not done talking.
I'm just saying.
Okay, well, some small mistakes were made. Bolo running ahead of Nave to deal with the Kiba barrier, and things go from bad to worse. DarkZero bottling their lead. Mizzou and NJR is the last 2 remaining now historically. That would be a terrifying thing for their opponents, but with the way that they've played so far this event, it's not necessarily as formidable as usual. Pambazoo takes down Packer, expecting a follow-up. So he's prepared and ready, as now it's NJR over towards blue. They will give him no quarter. A swing from the panel. Diffuser gets 1 kill. Pambazoo choked off from inside a church, and Diffuser actually gets both of those kills. A lot of errors committed by DZ. M80 will capitalize, but not necessarily a round that they themselves earned.
Okay, well, they can't all be good executes.
That's true.
Had to give one up at some point. Yeah, 4v4 I thought was looking good. But a calamity of errors at the end there, starting, of course, with this one. And then the way Nave took the second gunfight against Diffuser, I say second, I'm counting the first team kill there. The way he took that second gunfight against Diffuser was also not ideal. He had the feet, he had the information, but he couldn't shoot the head because of where that Kiba was at. Probably needed to destroy that first, didn't have the intel advantage like he might have thought he did. Great sight play by Diffuser all around. Don't want to take that away from him because obviously there were some mistakes on the offensive half, but Diffuser really did need to step up and hit some great shots at the end to lock things in for M80 and make sure that they win that first round. So credit to Diffuser. Very strong play, not just in that round, but through the tournament so far. Diffuser has been quite good for M80.
Diffuser's had some sensational stats on this team. I mean, all of M80 have performed decently well, except Packer.
Yeah. Packer, unfortunately, the worst stats of any player not grouped at the Six Invitational. But as the desk highlighted before the game started, he does a lot to empower the rest of his teammates. He kind of takes the less favorable roles so that everybody else can just focus on killing. And everybody else on M80 has had good stats this event.
Kino still retains his role on the team as highest rated player, but Diffuser and Gunnar are almost at exactly the same spot. Spoit is quite a ways down, and then it's a drastic fall off to find Packer. But I mean, Packer is the one IGLing this team. He is the one playing high value ops. He's very seldom involved in first bits of fighting, and the way that M80 plays and the tools that they have at their disposal, Packer's really only getting into gunfights out of necessity. And when you find players in his position, sometimes when you're the one tasked with getting kills, it's an impossible ask. It ends up being a 1v4, and maybe you get a single kill and you die, or maybe you get none. It also depends on the quality of your opponents.
Spoit once again playing top red. He's got so much util here. Goyo canisters and the Kibas. Gunnar not far away.
These Nitro cells keep getting shot by DarkZero. That's something that we don't really stat track, but is very impressive. You saw a couple get shot as well on that gym bedroom take, and now it happens yet again as Gunnar had thrown it out, and it gets shot towards the breach.
Pamba down below is looking to make this really tough to hold on to, but Gunnar's not giving it up. Firebolts have both come out too, but they just won't force these players back. DarkZero, you're gonna have to take a gunfight.
That's exactly what Gunnar will do, swinging on the breach as he looked for Nave. Nave 1 kill away from tying his tally on map number 1, and we still have at least one more round to go for Nave on this attack.
There's no way they let Gunnar get out of that, right?
It seems like they
crazy.
might. M80 have such a strong defense right now that DZ are troubleshooting it, but not finding a ton of success. Spoit maybe over peaks on that. He dies, NJR takes out Packer as a grenade sails off in the distance. DarkZero back to their winning ways, Jesse. It sure seems like it.
Yeah, this is gonna be a strong construction side hold. Pamba's still down below too. Don't forget about him. He's currently playing main stairs. Will come up for a late pinch during this execute. Kobe's got this ability to gather information as well. In the 3v5, you got to question, is somebody on M80 going to make some kind of a move? But these Kobe canisters, though, they maybe don't have to.
They will hold Kobe at bay for the remainder of this round, but Kino gets shot away at through the soft wall, out on the window. Kobe will wait for those flames to go, but M80 are still taking engagements. Fighting raw up on the stairs. It was 50-50 after 50-50. DZ on map number 1. Couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat. This time around, they can hit whatever they want. A great answer back from DZ after dropping the previous round when they committed a multitude of mistakes. And who knows, if they hadn't had all of those errors, it could be a 5-0 for DarkZero. They prevail on one of the 2 upstairs bomb sites, and M80 will immediately scoot over to the other site of CCTV and Cash. 4-1 the scoreline right now for DZ.
We might be able to see a 7-1 straight into a 7-1, Parker. DarkZero are certainly making me a believer. This pickup right here, NJR catching Packer, being so ready for that flank. That was the one, we didn't catch it live, so I was so confused where Packer, of all players, was dying during that cash extension clear. But NJR read him like a book, was ready for that rotation. He started the last gym bedroom defense in the basement, but he just rotated up main stairs. He played very passive. This time around, tried to go for that flank up through secret and got punished hard by the longest standing player of DarkZero. That was a really important catch. I'm glad we got to see it again on the replay, because if they don't get that kill, then after you take construction control, it's only a 5v4. That's very holdable for M80. Losing that second body of Packer was certainly unfortunate. So that's going to set up DZ in a dominating position. They will win this half. The question is by how much. A 5-1, as we saw just on the previous matchup, is very difficult to come back from, especially when you're on your opponent's pick and they're going to be more than ready for this game.
No timeout has been taken by either team, so we will have a slower second half, as I expect at least one of these squads to spend some time breaking things down with their coach. Just as we said on Skyscraper about the ineffectiveness of the roam for DZ, just holding control but getting run over time and time again, it's now M80's turn to get trampled underfoot as DarkZero just it's a little too strong at the moment. Bolo with the very first kill, down goes Spoit. DZ had some troubles getting early picks. Gunnar somehow gets away because Bolo was entertained elsewhere. Pambazoo is quick on his feet. He finds one before Diffuser shuts him down. Kobe trades right back, and DZ sending in multiple players at once. This is them reading into M80's roam. If you recall, M80 got first blood first 3 rounds. DZ made some changes, and now DZ is in a much more comfortable position. They've got the last 2 first bloods.
I said it before, I'll say it again. The trade's so perfect coming through from DarkZero so far. They're playing very together. They're playing like a unit. Even when they lose gunfights, there's always a response. Nice late reinforce from Packer. Recognizing the push is going to come in through construction, and he's got to do something about that. This main breach still being closed and electrified is kind of awkward for DarkZero. They need to find some way to destroy the electric claw that was placed on that CC wall. They've got plenty of hard breach, can openers, and exothermic charge to find that, but they don't have great util to find that claw, perfectly highlighted by our observers. more Kivas will make it even more difficult to enter the site, although the can opener does deal with the Kiva shortly after.
Good, how much more impossible this execute would be for DarkZero if you had to blow them up with explosives, right? Bolo finds his second kill. They're all competing to take care of Kino. Kino, right now, no kills whatsoever. Will he go out the first half on the scoreboard? They line up for him, and no, the answer is he will not. 6 rounds in, Kino, the highest-rated player on M80, held off of the score sheet. I would agree with Kangaroo Kenny. A masterclass indeed for DZ. Keep in mind, just as we saw on Skyscraper, it could have been a 6-0 first half. For M80 on Skyscraper, it could have been a 6-0 first half for DZ if it wasn't for that one round with a ton of mistakes, but still a 5-1 half on Clubhouse is very good.
Usually when you see two teams from the same region going up against one another, you expect a grueling matchup, right? Where every map goes the distance because they're so familiar with each other's playstyles. But I think both teams knew that that was going to be a big part of this matchup heading into it. So both teams prepared to bring a lot of new stuff to this matchup. I think having the day off yesterday where nobody had to play any games was probably a big help for both of these squads to prepare their own map picks. And I mean, yeah, it's been a masterclass from DarkZero on Clubhouse, just as it was a masterclass from M80 on Skyscraper. DarkZero beat M80 7-5 on Clubhouse to secure their spot at the Montreal Major a couple of months ago. It looks like they'll be securing a third map in just a short amount of time. I don't expect this one to go 7-5 like most of M80's previous plays here.
A couple things to note. Number one, over on the B stream, their matchup also involves a North American team. It's been a very good day for NA so far. Spoilers inbound. Unwanted, the former C9 BC team, the Manchester Major winners, defeating the most recent major winners of W7M, who won the Montreal Major 2-0. Unwanted will be in action later today, going up against Team BDS. Space Station defeated FaZe Clan 2-0, so Space Station will now go up against G2 later today. Over on the other stream, Raza Company Academy and Shopify Rebellion are doing battle, and Raza Company Academy took an absolute screamer of a first map, 8-7 over Shopify Rebellion. The winner of that game plays Virtus Pro. And then here, the winner of this matchup will go up against Furia, the defending world champions. As for the losers, well, we'll get into that in a round or two. Maybe even in a map 3, which seems to be coming in a little bit of a hurry.
Slow start to this round. Beating up, though, with this gank coming out. Immediately punished, though. Kino dies. Another exchange as Bolo falls to Spoit. And Slow once again. Chaos on the main stairs, but they're not ready to commit to a push. They've still got a lot of work to do. Hatch needs to be open. Droning needs to be done. There's a lot of players over around the main stairs for M80. That might be a point of focus for their push. But they also have time to rotate. Still a minute 20 on the clock. It feels so much later.
Bolo has unfortunately died early in half of the rounds here on Clubhouse. But DarkZero's still winning despite it. I mean, maybe you sacrifice Bolo and good things happen. I'm not entirely sure. Pambazoo was having a great game up to this point. He dies at the hands of Spoit, the bottom of main stairs. Advantage now swinging in favor of M80 as they get their first kick at the can here on attack, but then it falls apart shortly thereafter. Diffuser dropped, Spoit still alive. Nitro Cell sails over top of him. Keep a barrier in front of Spoit's eyes, disappears. And who emerges? But Nath!
You're playing Ash! Amira is back! You submit to help the team!
Kind of a great point.
I think it's really nice that Kangaroo Kenny's also trying to coach M80. I think doing double duty as a coach is quite admirable.
Oh,
M80's got to call their timeout here, right?
Still no TAC timeout being called.
Did we miss it? Did we miss the timeout being called?
We were yapping about something else, maybe? I don't...
There's no way.
No, we didn't miss it.
I have nothing here in front of me showing that they called a timeout.
No.
DarkZero has M80 now on the brink of defeat as both of these teams have seemingly been in a position to speed run their maps. It was a 7-1 scoreline on Skyscraper for M80. DarkZero comes over to Clubhouse, and they're in the exact same position. We said we talk about this in future rounds, and now I think it's a good time to do it, Jesse. The loser of this match goes down to the lower bracket, which means you're not going home right away. None of the games that we're watching today are elimination games. Those start tomorrow.
Yes.
The matchups earlier that had some losers, well, they go down to the lower bracket. As for M80 and DarkZero, the last APAC team in the tournament, CAG, Osaka, Cyclops, they play either M80 or DZ. The loser of that match will go. That'll be tomorrow. Furia and the winner of M80 DZ will actually be played to conclude today's series. I know that there's a big sporting event happening in America roughly around the same time that that series is supposed to go live, but if you're a North American fan, you're going to have to choose Hand Egg versus Rainbow Six.
And I mean, listen, it's going to be either Bolo or Spoit up against the world champions. That's not a hard decision. You know what to do.
Watch the sporting event?
No, Parker.
Oh, sorry,
Rainbow Six Thieves.
sorry.
That's going to be a fantastic game coming up later on the A stream. You and I will be back to cast that matchup as well. DarkZero hoping to repeat M80's performance, a 7-1, very much doable. And they are set up on the side of M80.
They are so close. They have full Raptors control at the moment. I mean, granted, this is not the bomb sites. Oh my, a misplay by Spoit as he doesn't expect for all of these players from DarkZero, or misplay by Pambazu, as they don't expect them to be so close by. Spoit getting the very first pick. Pambazu showing very little effectiveness so far as a defender. Now it's Nafe taking a lot of damage from those fire arrows. They've got him on the run inside of Cash. Impervious to bullets. He's got Bolo for backup on that construction door, watching top red. Bolo will have to look at two separate positions, as he's also very preoccupied by Nafe being pounced upon from CCTV. Kobe's gotten a little closer too. Oh, nice. Nafe had juggled the shield down. He goes to the hands of Diffuser. This has been non-stop action over the last 50 seconds.
Yeah, Diffuser using that pistol from down below to get a free floor bang, and that will be another one as Packer lines them up. NJR, the last alive, as Spoit finds Bolo. Parker, I don't know if we're seeing the 7-1. We may have overhyped it.
I think so too. He misses a golden opportunity on two separate players. I mean, Maestro's a great op for taking multiple engagements, but we got two, let's go, says all you need to know.
It's because Pizza was overheating.
That was a flawless round, by the way, for M80.
Keep playing, guys. Keep playing, keep playing, keep playing.
Maybe that's why Boo Boo didn't call the timeout. He knew something that we didn't. It's almost like he's coach for a reason.
Well, I mean, he gives some good advice. Keep playing the game. It is still a possible comeback. Maybe we just have the most attacker-sided Clubhouse that we've seen in a hot minute. I don't know if the players seem as excited about that. They know how long the road is ahead of them. They do not want to see a bank. I believe it was Foxley on the desk who said that he thought M80 had to win this 2-0 because M80's banks have not been very good this season. So far, they're on a 5-game losing streak on bank, including getting 7-2'd by G2 in the group stage. So, although they have quite a different roster than what they had for the majority of the season, even with this 5-man stack, bank has not been successful for the guys in green. But it feels like an inevitability unless DarkZero completely crumble on this defensive half. We'll have 4 more opportunities to close out the game before we head to overtime. The first of those opportunities will be here on CCTV Cash. Similar to the round we just watched, but less space that you have to take, really, from M80. There's gonna be... He's banded.
What?
Bolt? He bandit tricked a can opener and an exothermic charge. The second can gets open, so it's fine, but he probably could have saved one of those cans.
Not all can openers are built the same.
Yeah.
They're prone to rusting if you don't clean them properly. Some cans now you can open with just a tab. You know, things have changed. It's not the way it used to be, Jesse. It's not our grandfather's America anymore, all right? Things change.
I feel like these are slightly different can openers.
Oh my. Pambazu with a read onto the soft wall, and he types and cracks the smallest of smiles. Gunner's stats are not very impressive at the moment here on Clubhouse, yet he has had very high impact kills despite the fact that he's rocking a negative KD at the moment. This point, DarkZero's bought themselves some breathing room, despite the early bit from M80 to open up parts of these walls to the bomb site.
So they've got an angle on the main breach. They're going to open the construction wall as well. That means that Rafters is likely to be forfeited by M80. They won't spend any resources trying to take it. The main push is going to come through construction to try to get a plant down inside of Cash, and they'll likely leave one player outside on the platform. That might be Packer based on current positioning, who's going to try to cut these guys off, but without a huge angle into the breach, it could be bad, and there's no claymores on that garage door too.
DarkZero have now taken 2 members of M80 and thrown them into the bin. They're hoping for Bank to come sooner rather than later. Again, the winner of this matchup has another game today, and the winner of that matchup will confirm their spot on main stage this weekend. Kobe with yet another kill. Down goes Packer. Spoit and Kino last 2 alive. Spoit finally getting a kill. It came in the previous round. He and Spoit have their work cut out for them now as they just inch their way into the bomb site. There's gas to greet them, and DarkZero have an opportunity to put this one away with a flawless round. Kino on a single point of HP. He was jovial in all spirits. Nave hits him with the exact same message. Kobe joins in as well. And their prediction was correct. See you next map, indeed. Not quite as dominant as M80 did on map 1, but still, both of these teams overpowering their opponents on the maps they chose. Bank will be the decider, Jesse.
Blowout after blowout. We're getting ready to go to the final map of the series. You got to imagine 2 7-1s and a 7-2 coming up. You would expect the third to be close. We'll see you at the desk right after this break.
Tap, yeah, I want that. No lines, I don't cut back. Sweet, salty, and all that. Let loose, come get that. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel that? Ooh, you feel that? Ooh, the real back. Ooh, I'm still that. Ooh, you catch that? Ooh, I guess that. The best back. Yeah, yeah. 30,000 up, I'm a pilot. Might jump out if I'm wildin'. Catch my flow, I'm so stylish. Tap, tap, real smooth. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go.
Well, it was not looking good heading into that series, and then DarkZero just decided to turn things on. However, Clubhouse always feels comfortable for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, DZ, you got to feel comfortable coming into this map just for the simple fact there's not going to be anything you haven't seen done over 1,000,000 times. It really was going to come down to their attacks that we touched up on the end there, that they are going to win this map specifically on their attacks, and they damn near did it flawlessly on that attack half, and then they just needed to close out in a couple rounds on defense. So good for DZ to get that momentum back, especially going into Bank, but an even better comeback after that miserable performance on Skyscraper.
Right, I mean, both teams won their respective maps on attacks, but the way that DarkZero did it on Clubhouse was a little bit more calculated and executed in the way that they were isolating M80's players. They weren't letting the over-aggressive peaks catch them off guard, and that was different from Skyscraper. And I do believe it comes down to the map, because DarkZero, even though they have a new IGL, it's still the same routes. They're more relaxed when it comes to a comfortable situation. In Clubhouse, it's a map that's been around since the start of the game, and DZ has obviously always been pretty decent on it because it's a consistent map. They know exactly what they need to do on it. They just needed to execute.
I think, one, we highlighted Kino a little too much, but then Pamba's end, I highlighted him. I said, we need to see a performance. We need to see Pamba party time. And 12-6, I would definitely say he showed up, and it was a result of the big performance and the big win from them as a whole. So I need that, Pamba, going into Bank.
Yeah, and the reason why Pamba was able to do so well for DarkZero is because the map, they just looked like a team there. As opposed to Skyscraper, where they're all split up. The attacks on Clubhouse, they knew exactly what they wanted to do from the start, and there was nothing too crazy to catch off guard. It was just get your IGL in, get your entry in, and then drone Pamba. And Pamba was constantly going for these plays, always getting the opening kill.
I love that you say the IGL part, because that's kind of what worries me. You know, we were talking about how good Packer's been doing, how well he's been improving. You go on a map like Clubhouse and you can't get your ducks in a row on such a basic map. So that does worry me, where on the other end, they played it extremely well with this team, getting that success, getting this win underneath their belt. And again, I want to see more on Packers' end to be able to just get everyone on the same page, because they did look a little discombobulated in a lot of these attack rounds that they were trying to muster out, these defenses. So again, hats off to DZ to be able to reel it back in, bounce back, and just put up a far better performance than, again, what we just recently saw on that Skyscraper.
Are you concerned for M80 at all in this? That was a bit of a lackluster map on a map that they really should be able to dig deep.
No, I'm definitely very concerned, especially since we know with playing some of the players on M80, whenever a team is able to talk back or get that momentum back, some of the players on M80 start to quiet down in their performance. It gets in their head a little bit. So obviously, they were talking a lot map 1. DZ won it back. We saw them in chat the whole time. There could be a level of mental gameplay going into map 3 that can keep M80 quiet.
I was going to say, I think personally, from my own experience, I think it's a lot easier to lose right away and then immediately get that composure back and get set up for a third map, versus starting out very strong and then immediately falling flat on your face and then trying to regain composure for a last map where everything is on the line at that point.
There's been a lot of discussion here between M80 and DZ. They both look extremely good on their map picks, but we need a third to decide this. We'll be back after this.
Back it up, back it up. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Back it up, back it up. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Back to the back to the back to the back to the back. the realness, build it. Let me take it back to the realness, build this. Back to the back to the back to the back to the back.
Both of these teams have been hot and cold in this series so far, but they've got a third map to join the greats like hot and cold. I've got both hot and cold, ice and fire, Lax and Fox joining me in the studio.
Well, who's hot and who's ice?
I feel like you got to be ice because you got the bling on and you've also got the blue shirt, and that's definitely a fire drip, so... Did I say that right?
Yeah, fire drip.
You can't even spell my net worth.
And then the casters, they were also doing the little hot and cold bit at the start. So I mean, I see where your head's at.
It's all right. It's all right. The producer definitely didn't give me that up, so I'll take that. That's all mine. We head to bank now, gents. Let's get serious. Let's get into this one. Fox. Now M80, I mean, are they on the ropes? Are they the one that's lost momentum?
Absolutely. I mean, when we go to a map like Bank, we highlighted at the start of the desk. Bank is a map that M80 has played in the NAL 4 times. They've lost it all 4 times. Yes, they've brought in Packer on. They've changed it. They're a whole new team. But the fundamentals of the team is still hyper aggressive, and the map like Bank does not really work in that regard. Now, on the other side, DZ, what do we know about them? They love consistency. They love being able to set up and go for executes, and that fits in perfectly for what Bank is. DZ is a very dominant defensive team on Bank because they can just rely on the utility, stall out, and then use their C4s, use denial to stop the plant and choke M80 out. On their attacks, though, that's going to be the most important thing for DarkZero.
Yeah, and for me, this is going to be a battle of the IGLs here. Is who is going to be quicker at reading, dissecting a site, and being able to set up for executes. The defenses are obviously going to be the linchpin for this map. The attacks are by far going to be one of the most important for either side. And again, we saw it on two very close maps where they're just very constricted and tight, where Bank is a far bigger of a map. So again, I'm going to be looking at Packer personally here and see where he's going to be putting his troops and being able to make those adaptations between the mid round and then the execute for the late round.
Well, gents, this is going the distance. Hopefully we get a deserved map 3. We go to our casters, Jesse and Budget Terminator.
I'm Budget Warden Elite, you're Budget Terminator.
I'd rather be Arnie than Warden.
I'd rather be Warden.
Why would you not want to be the Terminator?
The Terminator
That is sick.
The Terminator can't see through smokes and lob nitros.
The Terminator is
the MPX like the best
basically unkillable. I feel like you haven't really watched the movies.
Pucker, that movie came out when I was like -4.
There are multiple movies and they're still around. You can go back and rewatch them whenever you'd like. DZ has regained the lead in the social predictions. You think after what transpired on map number 2 that they are the favorites? Could you be influencing the people when you talked about how M80 is not a very good Bank team? Are you the puppet master pulling the strings of the social vote? Are you?
That implies people listen to the things I say. That seems unlikely.
People really like what you say. You were the 4th best analyst when you were on at the desk.
Wow, that's really kind of you, my 8th favorite caster. Thank you very much, Parker. We'll get right into the operator bans. No issues with the HUD this time, so M80, the first ban, will take Monty off the board. Lots of shield bans continuing through this series. No surprises, but the Blackbeard taken out from DarkZero. They saw how disgusting Gunner was on that operator at the start of this series. They will remove it now. And Azami, DZ, go back to their roots with the Azami ban. I appreciate that. Especially because the last time we saw it, I saw they went for an Echo ban instead here on Bank against G2. So they're going kind of more traditional on those bans. And they finish off with a Kaid, which was, I think, one of their more expected and predictable options that they had against DarkZero. So let's load into it, Parker. Map number 1 was a blowout for M80. It was 7-1. Map number 2 was a blowout for DarkZero. It'll be 7-2. So you combine those together, and you must expect that this map is going 8-6, 8-7.
I mean, what you said is true, and what the desk said is true about this needing to be a 2-0 for M80, then DarkZero could, in theory, walk away from this map in very good position.
True. I will also say the last time these two teams played each other was stage 1, I believe, regular season of the NAL.
Right.
It was a DarkZero win, 8-6.
Oh. What map was it on?
Bank. That's the whole point of the...
Oh!
Stat. Last time they played on Bank. Parker.
Oh.
In Taro Bang.
That's not correct, Corn Pop 16.
We'll start in the basement as we so often do.
Did you bring your Corn Pop socks?
I did. I wore them yesterday on our off day.
Why would you wear them on the off day? You need to style them.
Because I don't think I can wear them on broadcast, frankly.
I mean, you could, but nobody ever sees our feet.
That's true.
Broadcast.
We could have our grippers out right now and nobody
We got the dogs out right now. We got them all dressed up nice for you. Feet are disgusting.
I actually just noticed you took your shoes off. You're in socks right now.
Well, I mean, I'm wearing these Birkenstocks like clogs that are super comfortable, not sponsored. And I just, I mean, my feet are clean. I shower. I wear clean socks. Like the clogs don't really attract smells, you know.
Other clogs are available.
Speaking of clogs, Hap arrived today.
That's a crazy segment. Wow, you're right. You're right. He's on the B stream right now, I do believe.
It's because he's Dutch.
Yep.
He is on the B stream with Emmy. They are currently doing Shopify Rebellion versus Raza Company Academy. You can march on over to the B stream at the conclusion of this map, unless it ends up being a 2-0 for Raza Company Academy, in which case you'll have nothing to watch but a break screen. Maybe some people like that.
There's some banger music. I'll give it that, the break screen.
I am very much enjoying the jazz music. That most recent one, at the very beginning, it was kind of giving off like Damn, or the winter level vibes from GoldenEye 007 on the N64. That's a console that came out before you were born.
Yeah, you're still just going over my head with those references, Parker. But actually, you know what? I played the GoldenEye adaptation on the Wii.
Same thing, right? Bambazoo striking first. As we were going to say, we are still very firmly in the discovery phase of this map. No real extended roam from M80. They're tucked inside the bomb site, and while we were discussing a variety of things, DarkZero is getting ever closer to breaking gadgetry, opening up lines of sight. Excellent timing on popping those Goyo canisters. You've already flushed out a lot of that annoying late round anti-plant gadgetry.
Yep.
At the minute-and-a-half mark, that's quite impressive.
Gunner on this old school operator, the Pulse coming out, thinks he's Troy Canadian in 2017. Gonna be giving that information for his teammates so that he can tell exactly when the plant starts to guide those nitro cells. Now, there are actually no nitro cells other than his own. So guiding the Toxic Babes from Kino instead, and it works perfectly. The first Toxic Babe forces Bolo off the plant, and he's only got 30 seconds to find this defuse kit.
Kino's got one more in pocket, and he's ready to toss it out based on the comms that we will see come in, and there it goes. Bolo can't breathe in some of that gas. It propagates correctly. Bolo out of this position, and now you've got the Yokai drone. The Packer will sneak into action. Look at that, it's so secret. 9 players still alive, make that 8. Kino dies, Nitro Cell gets caught. DarkZero think they have it going. No opportunity for Packer to get on that Yokai. Gunner with 2 kills, and immediately DZ gets out of there. They'll shoot away at the soft wall. The case down on the ground. Gunner will have to go for an engagement, just narrowly missing the head of one of the 2 players of DarkZero who are holding that hatch. Gunner's hoping that he'll buy some time for Packer now to sneak up on them. Gunner dies as there's just too many sets of eyes watching in that direction, and Bolo and Nave in the post plant situated so well.
Yes!
Round number 1 goes to DarkZero.
You fucking yes!
You lost the round.
It's a bin! It's a bin! Have an echo. You're gonna see a thing! You're gonna see a thing! Just watch and see!
I think Bodega might be a bit confused as to what happened in that round.
That's tough.
M80 lost.
Listen, I respect that he keeps the energy up. I think Kenny's enjoying it a bit here, too.
Kenny's laughing. Bodega looks a little annoyed. I mean, you got him right where you want him at that point. He said, just wait, you're going to see some attacks. There's 5 more rounds of M80 as defenders before you get to that point. I mean, you could have seen some attacks when they side-swapped on both Map 1 and Map 2, but at that point, they were 5-1 halves. I mean, the series was basically over on that map at that point.
It's been a very attacker-sided game between these 2 titans in North America. Well, really thought Packer was going to be the guy to save the day in that round because he had that Yokai inside the site, but I think it got shot right before it could do anything to the planter of Bolo. He did have to get off it with about 6 seconds left in the round, so I imagine it was taken out, and then he was just trying to do his best to sprint all the way back from Garage, try to have some kind of an impact, eventually have to rotate up with the post plant. At that point, it was all but over, so nice try, but DarkZero, by the skin of their teeth, will get through the utility, they get through the Goyo canisters, the Toxic Babes, and the Yokai to put the kit on the ground. I thought it was a nice setup, honestly, from M80. I really thought that they had enough util to win it, but in the end, DarkZero were too clean with it, and they will take the first round. And Bolo picks up the Collie here on this map. This is Kino's signature Collie map, by the way. Kino loves jumping on these windows on the sniper.
Whether he uses the operator for actual utility or instead uses it for killing, Kino can use all the help he can get. He is currently the lowest rated player of the 10 combatants in the server. 5 kills, 11 deaths, and an EPS of about 68. NJR is, for the record, the 2nd lowest rated player. Bambazu's been on a tear. He, #1. Now just surpassing Diffuser at this point in time in the round. Packer gets pushed out of his position that's affectionately referred to as Kanto spot. That's the double panel on the top floor over by the elevators. That's where Kanto played an echo. Packer seemingly attempting the same thing, but he's gone. The Yokai drones that still exist will be good for intel, but they will not be active.
Good value out of that lance. Destroying the mirror window. Uh-oh. Well, he does trade for the window, but loses his life. Spoit managed to get that pickup, so it will be an equal man count now.
Gunner harassed by the bees and the phone call. They doubly know where he is, and they'll try to capitalize off of this. Slowed down by a castle barricade. A bad flash will take away Nave's line of sight. He comes up empty-handed, and Gunner is still alive in this exact same spot. He wins the engagement. They had all the information in the world. He gets a second. You knew where he was. You had him dead to rights. And Gunner walks away still alive. He's got Spoit with just a couple feet away. Force him back up if needed. And JR will retrieve the diffuser, 35 seconds to go. Where does he opt for, and do they have any intel on him?
Hunting for, he's got pings himself. Yellow pings being given to the player over by Janitor. Doesn't know where the last one is, though. This is going to be awkward. Actually, the guy in Janitor, no idea.
Spoit heard him. Every time you lean, you make noise.
Yeah.
And again, there are an awful lot of people who play this game and who watch this game who only ever play on console. And a lot of them, there's nothing wrong with that for the record. But a lot of console players are playing without headphones. Sometimes you miss things. Let's not miss this timeout.
Yeah, they open the hallway. We can't play the hallway. So we just play to our fighter. Play Echo 2, okay? To play, so they play Thatcher again. And we play. I don't think we play Clash. Bro, to play this for day 2 push is gonna be good. I'm gonna put the Echo.
Bodega, odd timing with these timeouts. Didn't take one all of map 2 as they got 7-2'd by DarkZero. Then 2 rounds into this one, 1-1. You didn't see it, but DZ typed in chat a bit early, hey? Into the game chat about halfway through that attack timeout. Clearly, Bodega sees some issues with the lineup on M80. He wants to move them onto a couple different operators. He tells Packer to go for the Clash. Packer will oblige as he brings the Clash back for the basement bomb site. They know how important it is to win basement in your first rotation. The first 3 rounds is vital to win the strongest bomb site on the map, because if you do, then you can play it again in the second quarter, and then you can win it twice in your first half. And it's really important that you can get 2 different wins on your strongest site on a map. That sets you up nicely on the defense. Talking about console players and the inability to hear sometimes, Gunner actually was a console convert.
So was Kobe.
Yes, a lot of good players were originally console players. In fact, I think... No, okay, there's a few players in this lobby, more than most. In most NA lobbies, the majority of players are console players. Here we have quite a few PC sticklers, though. Spoit, probably one of the most famous, who's never played console. I say never. I know he's done a few...
I don't think Bolo...
few recent games.
Yeah.
Bolo also an original PC guy, so... You know, we do see that from time to time, but a lot of good players started on console, and Gunner showcasing that you can still put up some ridiculous numbers, be incredibly mechanically talented, despite starting on a different platform.
Yeah, I mean, there was a great migration as well that happened when that Xbox Pro League ended up dying after the very first SI. You saw that whole Elevate team move over Full Sail. One of them now actually on our broadcast, Laxing.
Yes.
Played on console, if you recall. He's a world champion himself, playing on that Elevate roster when they won it on Xbox.
Reigning console world champion.
A mark that may never change, for the record. The point of what I was saying about the console players is that micro adjustments, movements, reloading, even just like pulling out a secondary gadget, etc. All of those things make noise, Jesse. And that's why it's so important to clear comms when you have a teammate in a clutch situation. Because little adjustments can make a lot of noise, and that noise can give you all the information in the world to capitalize and pick up a kill. Speaking of kills, halfway through the mark of this round, and DarkZero and M80 have both traded out players. Kobe died, Spoit died. Packer was saying, I don't think we bring the Clash. They brought the Clash. The Clash will not be much of a factor. There's still a minute 20 to go in the round, and there's no Clash on the board for M80.
Yeah, unfortunately, the coach's words not producing results, at least for Packer. An early death for an operator that's usually very late round. Was playing kind of over towards that top floor, over the main stairs. Didn't have a whole lot of help. Diffuser rotated all the way top floor, by the way. Not sure if DZ are aware of this fact. It feels like they're not. Maybe they have an air jab set up onto this hatch drop, but I kind of doubt it, Parker. They've got no idea.
Diffuser might catch them off guard. A sloppy bit of gunplay. Pambazoo almost has time to turn around and do some serious damage back to this defender on the run. Diffuser, you better hope that that kill was high value because you're the last one left. He shoulders a bit of damage, drops as he sees one up top. He almost makes it work, if not for NJR, who is hot on his trail.
Flank of the century!
Go open, go open.
At least somebody's talking.
I mean, you got to start wondering about some of these calls in the TAC timeout. I mean, calling for the clash there if the player didn't want it. We'll get a tech pause here to quickly go through. But, I mean, Packer said it himself. He didn't really want to. He wasn't sure on the clash. Bodega was. Didn't pan out for Packer. It's unfortunate there, being such a high-value operator. M80, it's still early in this game. You know, you don't got to be too concerned about their scoreline, but going forward, the rest of this matchup, not having that TAC timeout later for a mental reset could be important.
Yeah. There was a 50-50 chance. It would have been Valk or Daka.
Players aren't allowed to
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not allowed to talk when it's a tech issue, and Pambazoo gets shushed by the Rainbow Six librarians.
Often they'll let the players talk if it's just about nothing, right? Like nothing relevant. But discussing operators in that round, the admin's got to step in and be like, no, no, please. So Nafe, of course, aware of that fact. Still, it's probably best just to play it safe. Keep your mouths closed during this time.
We have a bit of a developing situation that I don't actually think in all my time casting, have ever been a part of. Basically, Bodega has received 3 official warnings now from the match officials that he should stop communicating with his players in between rounds. And despite this, he kept going. The 3rd time that just occurred is resulting in some level of punishment. Now, what outcome that actually has on the map is still to be determined by tourney officials.
You can, if you just tie your heads up.
Okay, so this round will be a round 4 flip for M80.
So-
We've been talking to them during the round, so we'll be reading the 3-1.
What?
So DarkZero has been gifted a free round at the expense of M80 as punishment for Bodega being cited as interfering with team comms. Now, keep in mind, there have been a couple changes to the way that coaches and teams are able to communicate with one another. Number one, when there were a lot of tech issues, sometimes maybe mysterious tech issues, teams would use that time to strategize. A rule then came into place that prevented players from speaking when tech issues happened. Incidentally, the number of tech issues dropped shortly thereafter.
Yep.
Maybe it's a coincidence, but coaches are only allowed to talk to their players in live action twice. That's when they call their timeout and when their opponents call their timeout. The admins have ruled that Bodega inappropriately talked to his team on 2 occasions, both times receiving a warning, and then did so a 3rd time in the most recent round, around the DarkZero 1. And as punishment for that, DarkZero is being credited with an extra round at the expense of M80. So what was a 2-1 scoreline will now go up to 3-1. M80 a little bit farther away from being competitive here on Bank now. Realistically, Bodega's not very happy about that. I mean, I wouldn't be if I was in his position, but if it is true that he was warned on multiple occasions and did not heed those warnings, the only real option you have at that point is to bring down some form of punishment. It's not the first time that a player or a coach has been punished before for actions during a match. But boy, oh boy, it's a frustrating one for M80.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the impact that a coach has on the game. That's about as tough as the impact as you can get, forfeiting around for the team. Kangaroo Kenny has also disappeared. I don't think he was breaking the rules, but
where did he go?
I don't know. I don't know where Kenny. You're not the one in trouble. You can come back. Discussions about this. I will also.
Kangaroo Kenny hears it and he's like, you know what, guys? I'm not going to risk it. I'm out. I'm out, guys.
I will also inform the viewers that we are rehosting the lobby too, so stats may be reset.
Stats will be reset, or should be.
Yeah.
Right there is literally telling his team how to play, but we didn't even hear Boo Boo. We literally didn't change anything. You could literally hear from our comms. I was shooting like the always around because the thing is like, what did I say? You guys didn't even say what did I say. What did I say? Tell to everyone.
Okay, twice about like pointing the strat.
It wasn't twice. It was once. It was once.
This is the second time.
This is the second time.
Second time.
Earlier in this event, there was some talk on social media and talk between teams offline about the comments that were being made by coaches, and not just one coach in particular. I know a lot of people are going to throw blame at the feet of Super because he was the one who ultimately got a lot of the attention for it, but a lot of coaches were very softly communicating with their players, and it was caught all on camera. All of this is televised. The admins are standing right next to you. They can hear you. As far as I'm aware, all of the coaches got a warning to be more careful with the way that they talk to the team at the tail end of rounds.
Yeah, and I mean, end of the day, this is SI playoffs. You know, it doesn't get more high stakes than this. It's obviously an unfortunate way to lose a round, but rules got to be followed, and the admins are going to be a little bit more harsh in situations like this with so much on the line.
Where did Kangaroo Kenny go?
I have no clue. I don't know, we're getting good admin intel on what the bodega situation. I want some info from the admins on what's going on. Where did he go? Well, they're loading back into the game. Kenny there or not?
I was going to say, you got to wire in at this point.
Yep.
M80 obviously frustrated with what has now taken place. For those wondering, Jesse and I do not make this decision ourselves. We had
I called it in.
You called out Kangaroo Kenny.
Yeah, well, I texted the admins. I was like, Boo Boo's got to go. I was like, something's got to be done.
But then instead of Boo Boo going, they took Kangaroo Kenny.
Yeah, there was a bit of a mix-up. All right, it happens. Oh, that was a tough way to lose a flash.
Yeah. I think that's why you saw them chat in the game shortly thereafter saying, Packer, are you serious, bro? Was, I think, typed out by, can't remember who exactly posted it.
Let's go.
Might have been NJ, someone on DZ.
The admins behind the scenes and the tournament officials were the ones who made this ruling. That is why we just had the tech issue.
And then 3-1 on the screen here.
So DarkZero gifted around because the admins have determined that M80 coach Bodega has, despite multiple warnings, has broke the rules, and as such, a penalty must be given to M80, and it comes in the form of an extra round to the attackers of DarkZero.
We'll be curious to see as well with the site rotations being locked, what the situation is there. Obviously, DarkZero won the bottom floor in round number 3, so you'd expect it to be available again in round number 6. I would guess that is still true, but I truthfully am not sure, so we'll wait and see. Still not going to be at the front of mind. M80, despite the fact that, sorry, M80 on defense. Excuse me. Site should be unlocked for the foreseeable future for M80. In any case, they got to lock back in. You know, it sucks losing a round in the way that you just lost a round. It's tough being down 3-1. It is critically important that you do not let the mental get to you at this point in time. It is very easy to let a situation like that tilt you and lose this game 7-1. That cannot be the outcome for M80. Use that situation to fuel yourselves and get back into this game immediately, because crumbling here at the biggest stage would just be such a disappointing way to go out to the lower bracket.
In a way, you kind of need to hope that M80 keep it close, because if they end up losing and it's a close score line, you have to immediately point your fingers at that round. But if they're able to keep it close just on their own merits and find some motivation, then I don't think it becomes as integral. A round win here for M80 or the next to tie things up in the first half will effectively wipe away a lot of that frustration, but I don't think this is the type of thing that in your head will go away in the confines of this map. We're kind of in uncharted territory here, Jesse. This isn't something that we've really ever dealt with before. Diffuser gets caught out by Pambazoo as a Nitro Cell was attempted, and DZ are doing an awful lot of typing in the chat. Eventually, that will start to wear your opponent down. And now Spoit dies as well, as Bolo had gone for the death mark. Spoit caught standing completely still down below, and DZ are taking full advantage of whatever frustration might be in the minds of M80.
Yeah, DZ not usually a team that types all that much, but they're really trying to. I think they're trying to use the situation. NJR shoots the body of Gunnar after he claims his kill. Full basement control now for DarkZero. Top floor as well. Packer needs to be a hero. Finds one. Shotgun out for the second. Runs back, though. Doesn't find the swing from Bolo. Leaving Kino in a 1v3. Can't do anything more than that, and they will fumble. 4-1 reads the scoreboard after only 4 rounds played. That's got to be tilting.
Congratulations on a big win! Wow! Woo! That's good.
And the DZ players are lighting up the chat at the moment.
You can't see what they are saying right now, but they have been dogging on Bodega since the ruling came down. And honestly, every hero needs a villain in a story. If DZ want to play the villain here, the one team in North America that has seemingly received the most criticism at this event is DarkZero.
Yep.
There has been much ink spilled about NJR, about Pambazoo, about Kobe's performance. There are still reverberations of Nafe taking over as IGL after Canadian was moved off of the roster under some terms that people might not necessarily know all the facts of and might be a little bit upset by. The only player who seemingly escaped criticism on the side of DZ has been Bolo so far, but DZ have been hounded online and somewhat in person by the performance that they've had. And every single opportunity since the admin ruling came down, every opportunity that they've had to talk to M80 about their coach, they have done so. Now, you are saved from seeing a lot of it because it's happening when replays are showing and we're in between rounds, but boy, oh boy, DarkZero are going for the throat.
Yeah. This is, I mean, the M80 need a hero, right? They need somebody to step up, give this team some life again. Clearly, the circumstances aren't great, but somebody's got to be able to find an opening pick, yell for the team, get the energy going. And this might be one of those situations where you talk about Packer. He's the youngest team captain at this event. Can he dig deep and find that?
Spoit starting off this round in a positive direction for M80. Right now, quite an extensive roam for the defenders. Spoit dies shortly after at the hands of Nafe as NJR and Kino are in a battle of wits down below. Kino on the glass, or NJR on the glass, Kino on the smoke. NJR attempting to get through dirt tunnel into server, and Kino has used 2 toxic babes so far to keep him at bay.
User has to drop through the hatch as he is getting tracked, leaves Packer alone. Talk about somebody who's got to step up, but he's seen up through the soft wall.
They're trading back and forth effectively. Packer looked completely caught off guard by his position. He had the soft wall next to Printer, picked away at by NJR, and keep in mind, if the glass isn't moving, you see yellow instead of a typical player silhouette. Very easy to see them through a soft wall. Now NJR will move down towards server. He'd struggled to gain this map control earlier because of Kino, but now Kino realized you gotta save that last toxic babe for the execute that's coming in a minute.
Yep, and I mean, this is not a lineup that's gonna be denying plants easily. That's why Gunnar decides he's gotta make a play. I'm not sure if the phone call will be heard, but the plan will start either way.
Nafe really low on HP, and he manages to survive both a Nitro Cell and the last gas canister. But there's no contingency plan here for M80 beyond the lurk above. Gunnar spotted by Pambazoo, who is sitting over top of the hatch. And the last 2 players from M80 will find themselves in a very dangerous position. Kino under watch from that death mark. His position given away. Diffuser will equalize numbers. Now it's Pambazoo to rush towards the bomb site to help his team. Hit it from the back. He's got the marks. Concerned with the last player over towards gold. Down he goes at the hands of NJR out. Diffuser will have to come, as now NJR gets the plant at the halfway mark. Diffuser thinks that he's faking it. NJR off of the plant, and Diffuser wins the 1v2 to give M80 some life.
That's the only way we win this game and this fucking tournament.
It looks like relief.
Definitely from these guys here.
Let's get his attacks, bro. Make the micro plays. Play together. We got this, bro.
Let's go. Play the game.
There's the life from M80. It took a hero play, but Diffuser was ready to step up and be that man. Finally, some energy from this team, and it comes from the rookie. Diffuser, once again, just joined this team at the start of the year, had 0 T1 experience before jumping on to Beast Coast and then M80. And he's got to be the one who leads the squad in their hardest moment at the Six Invitational. Beautiful 1v2. NJR played it the best he could. He stuck that Diffuse kid as long as was reasonable, but then he had to take the fight. Massive moves from Diffuser. Can they keep that momentum up and keep the energy going? They at least get out of their first half, and you got to admit, if nothing else, the attacks from M80 have been far better. Even though it was all the way back on Skyscraper, that was the last time that M80 looked like they were in control of this game. They've got to be able to channel that again. They've got to be able to get their strats back to full strength and be running at this team, because M80, if they lose this series, will be dropping down to the losers bracket, and that's the very first round. It is an extremely long road if you have to make that entire run through losers. Now, I'll be excited to mention that it was 2 years in a row, both in 2024 and 2023, that
love this stat.
The eventual SI champion lost in the first round and made that deep losers bracket run.
Wasn't there also 2 years in a row where the team that qualified through LCQ technically won it? That was TSM and then G2, was it not?
Yeah.
If memory serves correctly. Talk about a long road, by the way. The loser of this match goes up against Cyclops, which is the last remaining APAC team. And then after that, you have lower bracket round 2, where you will go up against the loser of Raza Company Academy or Shopify Rebellion, playing against OXG. Then you have lower bracket round 3. Then you have the loser of the quarterfinals, who will be playing later today. Then you have the lower bracket semifinal. Then the loser of the upper bracket semifinal. Then you need to play the upper bracket final, and then you go to the grand final. That is 7 maps, or 7 matchups that you need to play to become an SI champion if you lose this particular series.
It's a long road.
Versus 3 if you win it.
Advantages of the upper bracket.
I guess technically 4, because you have to win the grand final. Okay. But either way, completely different story now. Bodega said to Kangaroo Kenny over the barricade, just wait, you'll see some attacks. Gunner with a kill. Kobe technically got the first. Spoit now baring his teeth. Kobe punished for that. Diffuser dropped. Bolo dies. Nafe on the board. It's all up to Spoit as Diffuser's now been picked back up. So 2 players on the board for M80. Nafe and NJR will be spotted by that logic bomb. They've got a good read on both of them. NJR dies. Nafe is the last man standing. It's him and Spoit in a 1v1. A very critical round. Either M80 pulls the lead to 1. Would have been a tie game, technically, if DZ didn't get that round. Or DZ goes up 5-2, and you have to wonder if that's just too insurmountable of an obstacle for M80. Diffuser retrieved now by Spoit as he finds himself in the bomb site. He's got some holes through the wall to assess. He's not very keen on planting, and he's only on a single point of HP. Instead, he's going to take the fight to Nafe. Nafe is at the top of the stairs. Spoit's looking the wrong way. Nafe with the higher rate of fire, but Spoit, one of the most mechanically gifted players in the world. Nafe peeks him. Spoit had no intel. DarkZero 2 rounds away from winning this series.
Nafe proves himself the better European in the 1v1. Great positioning, great timing, great patience.
And you lost to me! Ashamed! You should be ashamed!
Nafe is often talked about.
It's times to talk trash talk, and you should be ashamed, Kangaroo. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed.
Boo-Boo's not happy.
How could you tell?
Nafe is often talked about as one of the players that is known for his game sense. He's known for his IGLing ability. He can frag, don't get me wrong, but he's not usually talked about for his mechanics. He is the oldest player in this, frankly, very young lobby, 23. But it was really his game sense and timing in that round that managed to win the 1v1 over Spoit. Spoit gave it all that he had, of course. The star player for M80, a lot of expectations on him, but in a situation like that, it's going to be tough. Having 0 health in the 1v1 was never going to be easy.
Well, what we thought was a drama-free series is certainly turned on its head, Jesse. I mean, if you look at this series from a bird's eye view, you see map 1 going to M80 7-1. It was their map. You see map number 2 going to DZ 7-2. That's DZ's map. Then we come to Bank. Now, what this penalty against M80 is going to overshadow is that the desk, you, and even some of the players acknowledge that M80 would be in a big hole on this map. Now, even without the penalty levied against M80, it is still entirely possible that DarkZero skates to a big win.
Yeah.
But we'll never know because of what transpired at the tail end of round number 3. Bolo with the fadeaway, Spoit dies, and DarkZero has a lead for the remaining 2 minutes of this round.
Yeah, I mean, if this game ends 7-2, 7-3, as tough as the situation was for M80, it's the mental fall apart that comes after it that's really at fault for this loss, right? One round was your only punishment. If you could have mentally bounced back from that, you know, we just haven't seen it. Close the last round, don't get me wrong. And there have been some sparks of life from M80, and they still have a time to prove me wrong, to turn this game around. But when you're on the attack, when you're up against a team like DarkZero, and when DZ are doing as much as they can to break that mental game, man, it is tough. DZ won't be going for anything aggressive in round 8. Deciding they're gonna play passive, they're gonna hold their angles, sit in the bomb site. Look at all this plant denial, a nitro from Nave, 3 toxic babes, Goyo canisters on Kobe. Minute 15 to clear things out, and Nave will be the first point of contact.
Oh, he botches the first shot on the Kino, though, Jesse. He had a golden opportunity. He misses it. Kino now with free reign on blue, and he's got 2 Candelas still in pocket. So not only do you fail to give your team an even bigger advantage, but you leave such a high-value operator as Ying is on the board. You've conceded ground on blue, you've conceded servers, and the job for M80 just got an awful lot easier.
An awkward wall. Can you get through that? I think with some shots he should be fine. Gunner hitting the back as well on the Nook. Do they expect this? They do. Bolo is ready for it. Hits a beautiful shot to take down Gunner. And with 30 seconds left, the execute will commence.
Toxic gas will go. Diffuser with an EMP down in the midst of the site. Packer goes for a plant that's not in the default spot. Kino will look over top, wait for any utility to come out, but it's not present. DarkZero allow M80 to walk in and walk out like robber barons in the night. Kobe now ascending the stairs. He's got Bolo with him. One will go towards open area, the other, the hatch above, and Diffuser will have to pick his poison. What does he deal with? He hears the footsteps above. All the while, DarkZero will have to also watch the clock. A drop will come in from the Fenrir of Bolo. Diffuser good enough for one, not for more than that. Packer and Kino positioned up as only 10 seconds remain for DarkZero. They have to hop on the case, but they're miles away. Down goes Kino. Packer last man standing over towards blue. He stops it in its tracks. Pambazoo holding it, but I think it's too late. It's gonna come down to the wire. Does he get it? No! M80 win it by a hair, and they are still in this.
No more talks about Packer after that round. What a hero play in the 1v3. He gets just the kill that matters. They didn't quite have the time. They didn't know his positioning.
No, I didn't drop it, but when I got off my cam, it forced me to, it dropped it without me noticing. I didn't even click the key. It just dropped it when I got off the cam.
Don't worry about it, Packer. You did enough that round. Saving it for M80 just on the time. It was starting to look rough. I thought maybe Gunner hitting the backside would have some kind of life, but they found him immediately. NJR did not toss out that last Toxic Babe, which would have been able to stop the plant from Packer. He expected the Goyo fire to be enough to stop the plant, but because of the unorthodox plant spot the Packer chose, it wasn't available, and then he prioritizes the right target. He shot the guy on the kit, and then there was no time after that. The youngest team captain, the youngest IGL at the Six Invitational. Keeping them alive, keeping DarkZero off map and series point on bank. I believe they say it's 0-0 every round, Parker, 0-0.
Well, all I can keep thinking about is what the scoreline could have been and the reverberations that that ruling will have on this match. If you want to be a world champion, though, that sort of thing, it cannot bog you down. You need to immediately get over it and focus on the task at hand. M80 seems to have gotten the memo through the last round. Maybe this round too. As two cloaked operators will engage early. Bolo on the vigil. Nook, as Gunner walks up and gets punished, Bolo was prepared and ready for it, and Bolo gets two before dropping away. Kino blows up to Kobe's Nitro Cell. Jesse, we are 1 minute into this round, and only two players from M80 still exist. Diffuser and Packer, 6 kills combined, with Packer holding the case. M80's last two players are also both hard breachers, so at very minimum, they'll be able to carve away towards the bomb site. They've got a lot of time to try and get DarkZero to make mistakes, because let's be honest here, M80 is not going to win this round without DZ fumbling a few engagements.
No, I mean, Packer was a hero last round. 2 rounds ago, Diffuser was a hero. Since the incident, M80 have only won rounds off of big moments from these two players. They're gonna have to work together in a 2v5. They've got the Fuse kit, the time is okay. They're not worried about the clock just yet. 1:08 to try to get this onto the ground. The bomb site also not super favorable for DarkZero. They rotate Packer all the way over towards Printers as Diffuser tries to work a pick in through square.
Have to wait out some of this gas, but because so much action happened earlier in the round, M80 actually has plenty of time on their hands. No primary utility left from any of these operators, except for maybe the Vigil, if you consider that his gadget never really goes away. Diffuser now being attempted by Packer as Diffuser watches Diffuser, but in the other direction now, trying to keep the Diffuser in the hands of Packer safe by packing up what remains of this Capkin, but it will not be had. A flawless round from DarkZero as they get the final 2 kills and then hop on the case as well. DZ will move to series point. They want a date with Furia later today.
Let's go.
It was a beauty shot onto the Yokai cam, little flick, but it wasn't quite enough. DarkZero. All that coming off of Bolo. I mean, that man is absolutely insane. He wants the 2-time, you can tell. Bolo's been exceptional for DarkZero all tournament long. Of course, still fighting to be only the 3rd father ever to be a Six Invitational champion. He will be, I guess, regardless of this tournament. Hoping to be the first 2-time father, though. He joins Julio and King George as the only other players to win a hammer and have children. I know.
You have to mention King George. Now my mood is shot.
You and M80 both, Parker. Map 1 was 7-1. Map 2 was 7-2.
I hate King George.
We're in map 3 and the score is 6-3.
Ruins my mood. No, I like George aplenty.
You can't even admit it for 30 seconds. You can't even
No, because look. There are parasocial Peters out there who are gonna hear me say things about George, fail to realize that they actually come from a place of friendship and affection, and not a place from, you know, animosity or hate.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be like, wow, and Terrell really dislikes King George. And I don't want George getting any heat for it. He's a dedicated and loving family man who streams to dozens of people these days, okay? You know, he needs all the help he can get.
He's never lost a Six Invitational.
He's also 4 feet tall.
M80 are going to play a window execute on CEO. Try to stay alive in this game. Mira not being brought in this matchup, and DarkZero's defense here. The wall's reinforced the wrong way, so they can't even put a Mira window on it if they had one in pocket. Good intel from Nave as well. Look at this. They know that there's often a player out here on the rappel. Sometimes it is... Oh, wow, what a shot. That's the information. That's Nave on the Yokai.
It's Packer to drop as well. Kino and Packer having very, very tough games at this event. Gunnar the opposite of that, though. He's been the lifeblood of this M80 team time and time again, and despite not being the top-rated player on the squad, he's been having very high-impact moments. Gunnar sits at 6 kills now. The numbers on the bottom of your screen are not accurate. No, Bambazu has not died 2 times in 9 rounds. There was a rehost after the ruling was issued, giving DarkZero that round, so what we saw from the first 3 rounds has been wiped out. Means the player with the most kills at the moment is NJR, sitting at 12. Bambazu at 8, not far behind him. 9 for Bolo, and then Spoit at 7. Diffuser on the board, Gunnar picks up a second. Very valuable picks to keep M80 in this. DarkZero have a lot of wiggle room, Jesse, but they cannot let go of this game. If M80 can grasp that momentum, this can shift in an instant. NJR is now giving himself away. Gunnar and Diffuser, a terrific round between the two of them. The newest members brought on over from Cloud9 Beast Coasts. Major winning team. DarkZero still on match point, but M80 looking to close that gap in a hurry.
I think they're gonna roam more.
We'll get a tag timeout from DZ.
So, I agree. I think based on Rome, because they've run the Deimos, the Vigil is good for archives. Just care of those fast plays, like fast S1, fast printer, or not garage this time. Do we have a thing with garage on this? No, I don't have a next. Yeah, but I mean, the round first.
I can just put a finger there, and then I'll have the finger.
Intense study of the strat book.
And if we need to go to a national, then I think we will do the open bunker. Okay, cool. Let's go, boys. Let's not overreact to situations on defense. Just cool how we can help each other. We do it now. Yes, sir. Let's go.
A game plan created from the coach of Kangaroo Kenny, but some good reads on M80. We heard it from Packer. He said right before the tag timeout, I think they're going to roam more. We swap to the DZ POV, and Kenny immediately opens with, I agree, I think we need to roam. So both teams, good reads on the game so far. Deciding on which strategy they want to run for next round, and then the round after as well. Letting them know how they want to play that open area too. It's important in a match like this to not lose your head if you're DZ. In theory, you should be walking away with this one. M80 have been struggling and of course have had their moments. But it's very easy to let just 2 rounds slip away from you at the same time if you're not careful. We've been talking a lot about M80's mental. DarkZero could let it slip too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, DZ as an organization has a long history of struggling in big moments. I mean, a key part of why Canadian was brought in was to try and fix that issue many years ago.
DarkZero are actually the only team in the world to have attended the last 6 invitationals, including this one, and never made top 4.
That is okay.
They're nothing if not consistent, but the big moments, as you said, often get away from them.
They did win the Charlotte Major. It's not SI, but they are still a major winning team, and a lot of this core was present for it. Bambazu and NJR, 2 very important parts of that team when they ended up prevailing. M80 might be going for a rush strat here now as Packer will lead the charge. Bolo scared off of this position. He's quickly realizing the blitz is not alone. Bolo gets back safely. A Yokai is gone as well. I think that's Bambazu still playing above, trying to buy time. Spoit dropped. When you go all in on a rush strat, you better make sure it prevails. And in this case, it certainly is not. Jesse, they went for broke. They turned their pockets inside out looking for some spare change. And all they got was a wallop to the face from DZ. Kino last man standing. Oh, what could have been of this series for M80, and one that I have no doubt will be discussed extensively with M80 suffering through this result. A first for us. The penalty giving DZ some motivation. They still win, though. Oh my. DZ move on to face Furia later today. M80 has a date with Kag Osaka tomorrow.
Lower bracket run begins. Hopefully they're going to be able to be a bit more behaved in the lower bracket. Bodega still not happy.
They say in politics, if you're talking, you're losing.
Yeah.
There's been an awful lot of talking going on.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like DZ cares much of an inch.
A lot of words being exchanged. Bodega's he's a man of many words, and he'll be talking for a while about this, I'm sure. Jeez.
Who says esports is boring? Not me, that's for sure. What a match that was. I mean, quite unpredictable, all things considered. We didn't think map 1 would go so quickly for M80. We didn't think map 2 would go so quickly for DarkZero, and certainly nobody expected that third map to play out the way it did. Laxing, Foxay, and unfortunately Manic Monday will join us in the postgame to talk about what the hell just happened. See you soon.
Ouais, choque-les. Choque-les. Ouais, choque-les, choque-les, choque-les. Ouais, voilà ce qu'ils me disent. Les entends parler et ils maîtrisent. J'arrête que pour rafler la mise. Petit pas sur la piste. Et le succès, je l'ai pisté. Vise que la place du premier. Fais monter la côté. Sur moi, tu mises gros. Tu connais déjà l'équipe. Ça criera au complot. Je prends le double, on est quitté. Je fais la magie des chiffres. La somme, je la triple. La concurrence, la dribble. Et le stade est en délire. Ça fait choquer. J'arrive pour tous les choquer. Toute la foule, elle est choquée. J'espère que t'es accroché. Gauche, droite, esquive les rageux. Coach m'a rajouté du temps de jeu. Dans l'action, ouais, je me sens en feu. Je suis on fire. Je fais la différence au compteur. Money time, ça shoot sur le buzzer. Je suis on fire. Choqué, j'arrive pour tous les choquer. Toute la foule, elle est choquée. J'espère que t'es accroché. Choqué, j'arrive pour tous les choquer. Toute la foule, elle est choquée. J'espère que t'es accroché.
I'm here with, funnily enough, Kangaroo Kenny. A little close to my heart on that one. Mate, obviously a very close series. Fair bit heated. How does it feel to get that one in the bank?
Feels fantastic. Obviously, slow start again like we had in group phase on map 1. We always knew like their map pick was going to be strong for them, but this team has such good resilience, and we're always able to fight back. And you know, the disappointment towards the end of groups, we could have finished first, but we lost to Talon. But yeah, playoffs are where it matters, so hopefully we can build the momentum now.
You guys have been looking good and dangerous. There is one moment we are going to talk about, prepped you just before, Bodega losing his team around. He'd been warned about interaction with his players in between maps, in between the actual timeouts. What's your thoughts on this? Because you are a very vocal coach yourself.
There are limits. Obviously, you can hype your team up, but you can't give them, advice outside of the timeouts. So I'm a sucker for competitive integrity. Obviously, he's crossed the line. The Amazon DMD's crossed the line. It's never nice to get a free round, if that makes sense. Like, you want to win fair and square, but obviously, if there's a line crossed, there's a line crossed. So we have no control over that. That was admin decision. So. Yeah, nothing more to say. It
is what it is at the end of the day. Look, I think next game you've got Furia coming up, and I think that's really an important matchup for you guys. If you make it through, should we just have a look at this? Never mind. Production do not want to show the back ends of great conversations. Unfortunately, this means M80, they lose the map, and I'm going to give you the free floor here, Lax, because you have been a player through and through. I'm actually just going to give you the floor.
I mean, we were just talking about that whole boo-boo situation. That just cannot happen. If I was a player in that situation, my coach is costing me around just due to not following the rules. You got to get out of there at that point. To be blunt, you just got to get out of there. But as for DarkZero, I do want to capitalize and just take a moment on them because they played great game of Siege. That was a reverse sweep for them. I was questioning what Clubhouse might look like. Were they going to find their stride? They absolutely did. Then they come here on Bank. I talked about Packer. I wanted to see him kind of come in that IGL, come into life. Obviously, there was some situations that obviously we just touched up on what was happening over on the M80 side. But overall, DarkZero, they got it done. NJR being the top, got Bolo right underneath, Pam in third. I mean, it was a wonderful performance from both teams. But again, DarkZero were not only great on their defenses, but super solid on their attacks and their executes.
Now, just very quickly, you might have been wondering what I referenced to with Lax and what Lax was referencing to. We'll get into the storyline a little later. All you need to know at the moment is in map 3, DarkZero were given a free round. We'll talk about it in a second once we've got the whole analyst desk here to break it down. But ultimately, at the end of the day, do you think the better team has won?
Absolutely. DarkZero put in the work, showed it. Like I said, from map 1 to map 2 to map 3 was just a night and day difference with each and every single match. Obviously, Bank was a little closer, but still, that's all you need is 2, and they got it done.
Now, you had Pamba as your pre-match highlight. He's pulled through, and at a really important time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Pamba party time, that's the biggest thing. But this actually wasn't, oh wait, was this? No, this wasn't Pamba doing this. This was Nave. Nave was learning bachata before he came here. This dude is dancing on Diffuser right now, not even allowing him to get a chance. And then this end bit right here, I mean, I think it was well-deserved given how this game turned out for DZ. But again, Nave, you're from the UK, man. Why are you taking bachata classes? I didn't realize you could dance.
I'm wheezing right now. Let's bring our wonderful gentleman Fox in with the telestrator to break this one down.
I mean, I can't do any bachata, but what I can do is break down DZ's amazing attacks because we talked about how important they were going to have to be able to get this win. And this just goes to show a round with 15 seconds left that DarkZero always knows what they're going to do. So first things first, let's break down at what M80's doing to stop this. They have the smokes to be able to deny the diffuser. Second player is going to be Gunner with a C4 that can rotate to stop the plan if he needs to. And the last objective is going to be the Echo under the desk that you're not going to see until a little bit bit later. So first thing, with the smokes being in play, Bolo and Nave call a great rotate to be able to swap for HP bars because Nave can tank through a little bit of smokes, get the diffuser down. That's the first thing. Next, the rest of the team is going to set up. Bolo is going to hold the red rotate to be able to shoot any C4 or anybody that runs through it. Panba is going to drop into the site to be able to handle anybody in red hall, and NJR is going to drop into white to be able to lock down anybody in white and anybody in garage. And it's going to work beautifully well, but you're going to notice right as they go for the plant, Nave throws a little EMP to be able to stop the echo, and that puts M80 in a position of dire situation because Kino's going to run up because he's ran out of smokes, gets taken out by Panba. The C4 is going to come out, but Bolo shoots it, and the rest of the players are able to put some space between the case and between the team. And even though M80 is able to get those 2 trades in the site, getting the post plant down on a basement bank is so difficult to fight back from, and those are amazing attacks on why DZ, once they set up, it's really difficult to beat them. So hopefully, going into their next matchup against Furia, we'll still see that level of play. But we'll break down some more back in the studio. I'll be there with you guys in a second. I'm coming.
You better hot-foot it over here, boy. We got some stuff to talk about, I will say that much. So obviously, as Fox rejoins us here, we're going to take a moment, just have a very quick conversation. So for those of you that are wondering what happened before, Bodega has been warned multiple times about interacting with his team in between tech timeouts or in between rounds. Now, if you're unaware, the coaches can only talk to their teammates once a tactical timeout has been called or the entire game has been won or lost. That's the only time they can have their interaction. Bodega's been warned 3 times this event, and now is when the admins have said, enough is enough. You are going to have a round taken off of you, at which point he continued to go in. Post-match as well, he decided to walk across to DarkZero and continue to talk about what was and wasn't acceptable. I don't know if he's got the moral high ground here.
That's not acceptable.
You shouldn't be able to do that. I love that one cinematic of both coaches yelling right next to the wall. It's like star-crossed lovers split apart. But it's just an unfortunate situation, especially for the players on M80, because you never want to be in a position where your coach is going out of their way to lose you points, and especially fighting on it. Because if you're the team, you just want to play. And when you lose a given round, a free round, it just crushes. It's soul crushing. And as a player, that's the hardest difficulty, is you know every round matters. So when one's given away, not because you did something, but because your coach, at that point I would have reached back like, get out of here.
No, I mean, we already talked about, in a situation where if you're coming off of a loss, it's a lot harder to regain. And this is M80's situation of coming into Bank. They just came off of a hard loss on Clubhouse. And then it goes into what you were saying. Now your coach is costing you vital rounds where this is the last match, this is the last series game to determine whether you're going to be further in upper bracket or you're going to go to a lower bracket. And then you get costed around due to your coach not listening, not following the rules. You just can't do that. And for Boo Boo, you're my boy, but you just came off of a ban. You cannot be doing this. This is just absolutely unacceptable. I don't mind banter. I like people being passionate, doing what they're doing. But it just, there's a line that just can't be crossed, and this was a line for me that just absolutely should not happen. Not only are you making your team look bad, but you're also costing them a game.
Yeah, I mean, the game is all about being in a mental game, and it's so important to just leave it in the server, play out, and when you lose, you just got to let it go. You shouldn't be acting the way that we just saw Boo Boo act, and hopefully he's able to take back from that. I mean, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the ban because this is his first event since that ban.
Yes.
Hopefully you'd like to take something from that and grow and just focus on the next series because that's the most important thing.
Now, we have gotten word that there is a very likely chance that Bodega will have his pass removed and thus removed for the rest of the event.
I mean,